Welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the final talking transfers of this transfer window. I'm here with Turkish Robbie and Cecil, and I'll be honest, I'm a bit gutted, people, because I didn't want the energy of yesterday's win, such a great win. We discussed on Forever Arsenal, maybe the best of Mikel Arteta's time at Arsenal, to just be forgotten about so quickly, to just kind of be overlooked by arguably a bigger picture. And this transfer window was maybe a bigger picture in some ways. And it's 7:20 on transfer deadline day, and we're not going to be signing a striker, despite Bukayo Saka's injury, despite Gabriel Jesus' injury, despite the need for a striker before those injuries, despite the over-reliance on youngsters who, albeit, are doing very, very well. And I'm not going to pretend I feel any more positive about this than I really should. And I don't know how you've managed to, Robbie, get up at 7 every day to talk about this and be sat here at the end of it all with nothing to show for it. I mean, let's get your reaction first. It's looking, yes, there's 3 hours left or whatever.
Yeah,
but
could we sign someone?
It's not looking good, is it? And it is so disappointing.
Yeah, listen. We all know that January is a really, really tough time to sign players. I was just chatting to Matty over on the Magpie channel. We were doing a preview for the game on Wednesday, and he was saying Newcastle haven't signed anybody, and how much players they need. And there's been a lot of teams that haven't signed players. However, Newcastle's not going for the league. Arsenal's still going for the league. Arsenal's still in the Champions League, right? Like you said, we lost our best player in Saka. We've also lost Jesus. The manager all month has been saying in every single interview he's done after the game, we're short. We need to bring someone in, we're short. And we're not bringing anyone in as it stands. Now, to me, I remember in the summer we were having disputes about how you scored a window. I think I scored it 7 at the time, or you scored it, Turkish, 3. Other people scored it 4. I don't think there's any dispute about this window. It's a 0 because we ain't even bought anybody. It's a 0 window, and I just cannot believe. I mean, I just saw a minute ago that Marcus Asensio now has gone to Villa, and I'm not saying that's an ideal signing for Arsenal, but how are we expected to challenge Liverpool with the forward line that we've got? It's not enough. I know that. Big up to Ethan Wanieri. He's coming, and when Mikel Arteta said we're going to try and find solutions within, that is one solution within that we found, because on that right hand side he's looked really, really good, but it's still not enough. We still need more. We should have got a striker in, or if we're not going to get a striker in, you at least bring in somebody, because what happens if Havertz is injured?
Robbie,
I don't understand it. This to me is like almost like the owners of the club, maybe Arteta, I don't know how much parts he's paying it as well, basically just gambling on the rest of the season, saying hopefully these guys will all stay fit and hopefully we'll share the goals around and that'll be enough. But we know that that's a gamble, because he's been saying all month we're short. So thank God we won that game yesterday. Could you imagine if we hadn't?
Robbie, you say it's a 0 because we haven't brought anyone in. I agree with you. But can I add more layers to that? It's a 0 because we've achieved nothing this window. There's no backup goalkeeper, which is kind of needed, you could argue. We wanted Sven Nipan, an exciting young 18-year-old. It looked like we were going to get him for around £10 million. That's not even been able to get over the line. Cool, he doesn't want to make a commitment. But that was time and effort spent towards a potential recruit. That's not happening. We still need creativity in midfield, and we haven't brought in a forward, whether that be a striker, a wide player, or any depth. Now, Zinchenko was linked with a move to Dortmund and Atletico Madrid. That would have been potentially £20 million we'd have secured. That hasn't got done. They've achieved nothing this window. If Jason Ato was on some sort of trial while we're looking for a director of football, it's been a bad one. Like, let's put it that way. Actually, sorry. Zubimendi might be signing in the summer. Let's not forget that. And look, and if we have got that secured for the summer, ahead of schedule.
No one cares about the summer.
No, of course. But
I don't care about the summer.
On its own is cool. I like Zubimendi, whatever. But I said I didn't want us, forgive my language, I didn't want us to piss away this season And when we're doing this, it feels like we are. In the past, we've done this where we let Aubameyang go. We stuck with what we have. I think last season in January we didn't do anything. We're going to stick with what we got. We're going to back the boys. We're not going to do anything too short term. But we've always fallen short of our targets. It's all well and good going, look at the long-term plan. But the short term is... I don't think we've ever explored the short term properly. Now, you could say Raheem Sterling on loan, but I think we all knew about that. We're not saying go get a Chelsea reject on loan, with all due respect. We're saying, is there really no one you could have brought forward? Is there really no £40 million player out there that could have done something? I don't know what the scouts did. Look, I'm pissed off. I'm not going to pretend I'm not Turkish. Come in before I keep waffling on.
What's the question?
I don't know. Say something. Say. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No. This is what it is with these owners. You know, I know you said Jason Ator's name. I don't want to hear about no Jason Ator. I know it's doing the rounds on Twitter right now, but
whoever, all of them.
It's Arteta and Kroenke and Arteta, right? The percentage is wherever they lie. That's the two biggest influences at Arsenal Football Club right now, right? And the first 2 weeks of the window was very much internal solutions, and I flipped after United because, come on, like how many slaps in the face do we need before you? And then after United, Arteta changed his tone and started saying we need a forward. But then that tone somewhat dwindled a bit in terms of I trust the people that are doing the jobs around me, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, look what it's accumulated to. Those words, how can it lead to nothing? Those words surely had to have led to something. Whether that was even at Essential on the last day, which I would have probably been here and been like, you know what, look what we've done again, improves our attack, but at the end of the day, it's still, bargain hunting once again. But it would have been something. And Arteta said he needs something. He said we were light on December the 30th or something. He said we were light. He said everyone knew we was light. That's what he said. So how could we have been light in the 5th year of this thing, or 7 years since Be Excited, whatever benchmark you want to use? How can we be light? And on top of that, how can we openly admit we was light, everyone knew that, and then go through not just 31 days, 34 days. They've given us 3 extra days to do something, and we've done nothing. Like, the proof's in the pudding here. And like I said, I like Arteta. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he's going to win things, whether that's here or somewhere else. And the reason I say whether that's here or somewhere else is because the way our club is run, it never wants to take that next step to do what a great club should be doing, and that's winning stuff. And then you have many people making arguments for them about profits and PSR and all that. We, as much as people say to me, we are fans that just support and do that. I get that, but we are fans. Then don't give excuses about PSR and the financials and all that when the light was very firmly on this transfer window. The news came out leading into it, we were light, and everyone knew that from Mikel. The news came out that PSR were comfy right now, financially, right? That news all came out before the window opened. We knew there's a release clause in Lookman, there's a release clause in Gyökeres, there's a release clause in Osimhen. Kvaratskhelia became available about a week in. Since then, couple loans here. Marlon's gone Villa, a couple more additions at Villa. Tell's another one loan. Yeah. Then we hear Ornstein come out and say Arteta doesn't just want anybody. What are you talking about? You said we were light, and I'm not even saying Ornstein's words are gospel. None of these men know anything. Ornstein, Romano, they're all pawns in this game. So I don't believe that Arteta said that, because how can I believe he said that when we went into the season 22 man instead of 25, which is the limit, right? So we knew we was light. So it's not look, Sterling was a body. So how can we hear January the 31st or February the 3rd that we didn't just want anybody, but the last day of the last window, we literally bought in anybody. Literally bought in anybody, and that was Raheem Sterling. So how do you go from one mentality there on the last day of the summer window to the next mentality there the last day of the January window when we're actually potentially in for something? The Premier League, look, we just beat City 5-1. You sign a quality attacker and, fingers crossed we can turn it around, Carabao Cup. Do you know how good you feel going into Dubai all of a sudden? Yeah. It looks very different. But now that 5-1, I was gassed. But it's kind of like this, the transfer window just taking the life out of it again, because we pretty much know this squad ain't going to lead to the Premier League title the way it is. We can hope and pray for it, and maybe, just maybe, miracles do happen. I've seen us come back 13 points behind United in 98. I've seen City come back 8 points behind United with 6 games to go. I've seen us lead it for 200 days and not win it.
Yeah.
So we've seen various different methods of a miracle happening or some bullshit happening, right? So that it might happen. But the reality is we haven't put ourselves in the best of position. We shouldn't be 5 years in or 7 years in to be excited and saying hope, pray, and let's see. We should be confident. We should be, come on. Do you get what I'm saying? But we're not. And if you do put on that act, because it would be an act at this point in time, you know, I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
Long gone. When Van P went to United, that changed me as a not in a good way, because I should, you know, when I get onto man for singing about certain players, or that's a football fan. I get that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But understand, a moment in my life came where I thought, or I realized this is a company to these men, and it's not this ain't a genius speaking here. Far from it, but it's a company to these men.
Yeah, some players have that mindset.
And Fabregas's quotes are coming out again. On Twitter, it done the rounds. When I was young, they put a lot of pressure on me. I was playing 60 games a season. I wasn't getting rest. I was playing injured, and I looked around. Other people are winning. He also had quotes before talking about winners on the bus after a certain loss. Do you think Saliba could not come out and say that in a year and a half or a year? Do you think Sakura or Gabriel or one of these men that have helped turn us around can't say the same things Fabregas said 15, 16, 17, whenever it was, years ago? And that is the shame of it all, because we are close and Arteta's been key to all that. But he will be the fall guy because the attention's always on the manager. But when will it turn? Because Wenger was a great shield for them. He had credit in the bank. Emery came in and out, good manager, didn't fit well. Arteta's helped turn it around to a point of expectation. Now we expect to win a major trophy. It's a very different time. I'm not as, this anger is coming from a very different place to what it was 5 years ago. We were shit 5 years ago. I'm not saying we're shit. We're far from it. We're a very, very good side. But in the Emirates era, I've seen 3 very, very good sides. 3. And all of them ended the same way. Without a Premier League title, not a chance in Europe, and the key players leaving to seek big silverware elsewhere. That's what I've gone through. So I get the young fans and the spirit and all of that, but in points like this, understand there is a difference. Of course you support the club, but there's a fine line with supporting the company as well. And as fans, sometimes we make too many excuses for the ownership or the management, or but this is $1 billion company. This is a great football club with heritage. Not European, but heritage domestically. 3rd most successful club on this land. Do we move like that?
No.
Have we ever moved like that? And that's that. All of our big signings, even Sanchez came in because of it fell in place. Ozil came in because it fell in place. Oba came in because it fell in place. All of our big signings in the Emirates era came in because it fell in place. Don't tell man be excited and not change that around. Go take the man now. We got the money for it. We're paying. Go take the man, but we don't do it.
Let me ask you, Cecil, about Ollie Watkins. What was that all about? Because we've heard it was actually more of a £40 million bid, roughly, which I think is a bit of a joke of a bid, to be honest. I don't think you're ever going to get him. If you asked me at the start of the window how much is it going to take to get Ollie Watkins out of Villa, my guess would honestly have been 80 million. I would have guessed around that. Looks like we went in for 40. No suggestions that we really went in for a second bid. We've seen them adding attacker after attacker, who probably would have added something to us. What do you think this Watkins thing was all about?
I don't know. Watkins, the initial bid, I believe it was a low ball, but from what I was reading or hearing, it was just like they wanted to put initial bid in, and then there's some sort of communication from somewhere to say, look, this can be done. Obviously, it'll be for a lot more money. That you're not going to get him for 40, maybe even 60. I think I heard that Villa wanted around 60 for him. Obviously, they let Duran go and whatnot. But in a January window where he is a top striker, and they've got they're probably in Champions League football potentially next, or European football next season. It's going to be tough to get him. But I think someone from Villa was saying, keep trying. He was distressed, as we heard as well, because of the Duran situation. He wasn't playing as regularly. He wasn't the main guy. They were rotating through that. So I heard there was some distress there. It's interesting now because they've signed, regardless it is on loan, but Rashford on loan. They've got another attacker in as well, Asensio. Then surely if the issue is being rotated out the side, not getting the amount of minutes. That could still happen again, even though Duran's gone, because there's still more attackers there. So is the Ollie Watkins thing completely dead? The way we all sat here now in the mood and it's, there's nothing coming through. Yeah, I'm trying to hold on to some sort of hope. I'm being one of those fans that, you're trying to hold on to hope that someone's going to come through the door, because I think it'll be ludicrous if Arsenal don't make a signing.
It's ludicrous already, bro.
No, but even from last season, January, we needed a striker. We needed a striker for ages. We said it, and they didn't sign anyone last January. And I said, there's no way they're not going to sign anyone. There's no way. And they did that. And I thought that was criminal. And by the way, off the back of that, cool, we went on a great run, the Dubai thing. We scored loads of goals, and it felt like your paper over the cracks because Arsenal played well after that window. But we ended up with nothing. Is that not enough of a sign to say, you can't do that again? We're actually in more competitions than we were last season. Maybe not more competitions. We weren't 248 days in front, but we're in more competition. So you've learnt from last year. You didn't sign anyone. We didn't win anything. That, like you said, we're so close. Surely if you make a signing, something to add to this team, you can potentially go on and win something. I don't know how. They must see it. I don't know who to blame. I don't know
everybody.
The owners, I don't know.
The crazy thing about it, like every single fan, if you go up to him and say, I don't know it's all about Arsenal fans, any club.
Yeah, any club.
Any club. Even if you went up to a Leyton Orient fan and said, what do you think Arsenal need? They say striker. Every pundit, striker. Mikel Arteta, striker.
Thierry Henry said it.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry, every single person, but we haven't got it. So then, if this window closes and we haven't got a striker in, that's a dereliction of duty. That to me is like, you've got no ambition. Because you know what you need. Listen, I was saying at first, we got to get a striker and somebody out on that right-hand side. Wanyeri's kind of solved that right-hand side problem for now, right? But you still need to get now you only need to get a striker. You may not be able to get your number one target. We know it's January. There's not many teams. If you was to look around right now, there's not many teams, I feel, in this January transfer window that's got their number one target. It's really tough to do in January, but go and get somebody. There were players available
they
could come in on a loan. Maybe they may not be your main guy, but then at least they can give some sort of backup, or they can give some sort of competition to Havertz. Who's going to be the striker now?
They've had windows.
We've had windows and windows to do
know,
it.
like,
we seem to. It's almost like I don't know, because we've got American owners. Maybe they think we're operating a draft system.
I don't know what
because it seems like everything's so strategic. So it's like, right, we've got that now. Next year we're going to get a striker. The year after that we're going to get no. You've got to bring things forward, because look at the position we're in. There's a chance to win things, but it's like. Honestly, I'm really. If we don't sign no one this window, I'm absolutely shocked. I thought that they would get at least one signing in this window. I was even
last season. Though.
I was even told this by someone. I was even told this by someone who's very close to Arsenal. Said, Robbie, they're definitely getting a forward player in this transfer window. So for them not to,
I was told they're going to make a signing.
It's crazy. Well, listen, there's a few hours left, but you can normally pick up rumbling unless they're doing some real secret stuff.
But I'm holding on to the hope.
I don't know. I ain't holding on to nothing.
Neither am I.
I ain't holding on to nothing right now.
This super chat here, we'll go through your super chats and comments now. So Joey says, fans really expect us to just sign anyone. If Sesko or Isak isn't available, which they're not, then I don't want stopgaps. But Joey, here's the thing, yeah. And I don't want to be rude, so let me try to be polite about this. As a one-off kind of way to look at the situation, don't get stopgaps, wait for your right guy. Cool. Like, as a one-off, I can understand that. But we wanted Rafinha in the summer of 2022. We wanted Kudus in the summer of 2023. We wanted Sesko in the summer of 2024. We came out with none of them. We've since added a whopping Trossard for 27 million because he happened to become available when we didn't get Mudryk in January. That was an 80 million pounds we were willing to commit to afford, and we didn't. And we've added Sterling on loan. No one can convince me that not for 1 month, but for about 3 years, this is a totally and utterly neglected position. And when you look at Liverpool, what do they have? Goals. Apart from a better defensive record than us now, actually, they've got goals. City have goals. And then when actually they went through a bad couple of months, Marmoush came in. They recognised. They said, Julian Alvarez going without replacement, bad idea. Now Marmoush's come in. They looked at their problems. They reacted.
Yeah.
And Arsenal, John Duran goes, we'll bring in Rashford and Asensio. Don't worry, Villa fans.
They already brought in Marlon.
Yeah, they got Marlon already.
They
Yeah,
had already brought in Marlon.
and they got
Give us one of them
And
for free.
they've kept Bailey.
And before all three of those signings, they had a better attack than us.
Facts.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got their attack. They've got Ollie Watkins, Rashford,
Bailey,
Marlon, Bailey. Who's the
Asensio.
other? Asensio now.
Yeah.
Right, and
Ramsey
Morgan Rogers technically
Morgan
can't
Rogers,
count.
and then the
Ramsey
only
times
one,
as
only one who's gone through the door has been John Duran. I know they got a big amount of money for it, but he's the only one that's gone through the door. No, it's and the thing is as well, as I said, you may not be able to get your main target in January, but get somebody, because you know what, the player you just mentioned there, Trossard, he wasn't our main target, but he came in, he's done excellent. He's not the answer. But as a player, how many times last year and even this season has that guy come off the bench or contributed a lot to Arsenal's team? So don't tell me you can't get nobody. There must be another Trossard type out there that can help out Havertz, can drop in to help out on the right-hand side, can drop it. We can see Sterling's not working. They tried that, I mean, all right, at least they bought somebody. That was a loan. But to bring nobody... I think that's criminal.
The striker situation is the most frustrating thing, because Robbie even said earlier, he goes, what happens if Havertz gets injured? What happens if Havertz is fit? We still need a striker. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we still need a striker, but if he's injured, then who plays striker?
But people, it's going really under the radar that we're talking about Havertz, right? It's not just him. It's not just the striker. It's Martinelli's doing right wing shifts at the moment because we have no natural right winger, and the one who seems closest to Saka is a 17-year-old who's been propelled into this position. I mean, we're so lucky we have Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri. Thank you, because they're going levels beyond whatever I expected from them this season. And then what if Erdegaard gets injured again? You'd think we learnt from those 2 months. What if he gets injured again?
For me, that's honestly, even if they just went out this window and got a striker. Listen, in an ideal situation, you'd want cover for Odegaard. But you have got players.
Nothing.
You have got players like Marino who can play in there. You could play. I mean, there's players you could push into that position. May not be their ideal, but you could play there, right? But when it comes to the striker position, Havertz is not really, he's what you call a hybrid type striker, and then there's nobody else.
He got brought in as a midfielder,
and then that up front, we should suppose in the next game Martinelli pulls up. Then what? How can we leave us? Anyway, don't take it from me. Take it from Mikel Arteta. He says we're short. Even Shane, we're short every.
So, yeah, the Arteta thing is interesting, Robbie, because I think on this month alone, he's made it clear what he wants. He said it in press conferences. He's actually got quite annoyed actually at questioning and basically saying, what you think I'm saying I don't want a striker, and I think he's made a position clear. So I think that they've let him down. But what I would say on Mikel, who I praised massively for his performance and how he got the team ready, for Man City, and what the team did on the pitch, he deserves massive credit for too. But he's also, with the investment that Arsenal have had, with the funds and resources he's had, he has also neglected this position. It's not just on the people above him. He has also gone 65 million on Havertz to be R8. Like that was a decision over Kudus for 35 when he went to West Ham. He also passed up the choice to get Alexander Isak because we know we wanted him. He went I think for around 60 million, I think it was, to Newcastle. We spent that money and more in the summer that they got Isak. Like, there were opportunities out there. Like, someone has sanctioned a loan for Vieira. Do I think Vieira's the answer? No. But my word, he could have.
Why didn't they even bring back Vieira then? If you're not going to bring in even an attacking player, that's another thing. When I wasn't even thinking of that, why didn't you just bring him back?
Well, yeah, Reece is on loan as well. Let's not forget. I know people don't want to hear.
Well,
you're going to laugh in my face because it's the absolute bottom of the barrel. But I'd have rather we recalled those players for numbers.
Yeah.
The poor players are on their feet. Look at Havertz at full time against Wolves. Do you know what's so sad about this? I was so proud of the team yesterday, buzzing. Everything we're saying now is not a reflection on the players and the efforts that they're putting in. And, well, it kind of is because we're saying we need better. But what I'm saying is the efforts and the running and they played 9 games in January. We needed a player in at the start so they could have helped for this ridiculous run of games that we had. So already it was a failure not to get someone in earlier. We talked about it forever Arsenal.
Should have been at the start of the window.
If it meant waiting to the very end to get the guy they absolutely wanted, I'd have been like, all right, we might be a bit incompetent, but at least you've come out with the guy you want. And now here we are at 7:45, 3 hours and 15 minutes left, and the players have just been... They've just been rolled.
Bringing in bodies might actually have been that could be the solution. Like the solution. The sports scientists at the club must be thinking like, there's so many games being played. Players are getting fatigued. You can clearly see players getting injured. Lissandro Martinez today, ACL. Like players are playing so much and getting injured. You're gonna need cover, multiple cover. Yes, we have multiple cover at the back, but surely you can't just neglect again the striker position so much, Mikel. Like we need. It's glaringly obvious before the injuries. It's so obvious. I'm so disappointed if we don't sign anyone. Again, hold on to some sort of hope. You're all looking at me like I'm mad, but hopefully we do something.
Well, I'll help you out with these super chats as well, because loads of them are coming in. Mark Crow says, owners showing no ambition, happy with top 4. Jay Federer J says, I don't put this on Arteta. All January has been the same. We are short. In my opinion, he's looked increasingly irritated in the pressers. Same owners, same problems. Babatunde says, here we go. We've seen this movie before. Shameful Arteta and the Cronkies complement each other. Say it right with Arteta and play us right with the Cronkies. HW says, anyone who expected anything different is stupid. Maybe I'm stupid because I thought we'd sign someone. Or naive or both. The Watkins bid was a typical looking busy bid, and the idiot fans got excited for no reasons. Fools. Just pointless obsession over Isak, Sesko and Williams. Says fans in Iceland are very disappointed, guys. Why didn't we get Boniface? Was optimistic on that rumour. Thanks for the show, guys. Shile J says, if we go 4 consecutive seasons without a trophy, the manager will get all the criticism, not the owners. Just like Wenger, some things never change. Eric says Arsenal coaching staff and board have no plans for the club to succeed. Time and time again, they refuse to capitalise on opportunities to win. We've got Jake Upton who says people say that January is tough, but Villa signed Rashford, Marlon, Asensio for 20 million. We do have to remember that they do also sell probably one of their best players in John Duran.
How did they get John Duran? Because they went and scouted, they looked to what was out there, they picked him up from a league that we probably aren't looking for players in, and they bought him for what, 10 million? I want to find out exactly when they bought him and how much they got him for, where they got him from.
I thought he was under 10 mil. Adju says Arsenal was better, accepted the L.
Chicago Fire. January. Was it January signing?
January
Chicago
signing.
Fire. What are our scouts doing? What are they doing? Sorry.
He says we're embarrassing to have lost the way. No way. Our standard. Real talk is bigger picture. He's right to say, let's see who will have the last laugh. Respect. Okay. Invincibles 49 says putting the lack of attacking signings on the manager is falling for KSE's trap. The money spent argument is bollocks. We haven't spent outwardly since his arrival, relatively to the top 6 and done the minimum to be competitive. HW says, I don't know why fans want to absolve Arteta from this shambles of a window. When Edu left, it was reported that he had no power in choosing our next striker. In choosing our next SD. If that's true, he should also find players. It's on him. Carl's Corner says, why don't people think we are doing anything special this summer when we've had 3 failed windows in a row? Be optimistic when the owners aren't optimistic enough to back the manager this season. Prom again says, how would you rate Kai and Raya after yesterday's game against City? They were both good. Jack says, who do you actually blame, Arteta or the board? Who do you blame, Turkish?
Both.
Both.
Arteta and Kroenke, there's a percentage of blame for both, but it's more so on the ownership for sure. But Arteta signed
he signed a few players and spent a lot of money on
There was a
these
super
players.
chat in there that mentioned, obviously, if you're putting any of the blame, that's crazy. Of course, some of the blame comes on Arteta because it wasn't this month that we've become short. We were short in the summer. And we allowed it to get into the season. That's when we were short, before Arteta signed that contract and before Arteta said best owners he's worked with and they're hungry and all of that nonsense, right? We was already short when he signed that contract to become the second highest paid manager. So of course a lot of this is on him. I don't give a shit about Edu or Ato or whoever the fuck the sporting director is. This is our manager, not head coach, manager. So
He has a lot of
Kroenke's
power, though,
and Arteta, they're the biggest influences at this club. Kroenke's will always take the majority. They are the problem. They are the poison. If we do manage to pull something out the bag in terms of a major, whether it's now, 5 years, whenever it is, if it's to be, it will be despite the Kroenke's. It won't be because of them.
Well, they made a big signing with Declan Rice, so they spent money. If we win a major going forward now, you can't have a go at the owners, surely.
Why Optimist says, let's be realistic. We're not making any signings. The club is saving all the cheddar for the summer. This club has been stingy since we bought Rice. Cameron says, as long as the owners are selling merchandise and selling tickets, they don't care. Jay Federer J says, Arsenal forwards signed since Arteta took over. Do you know who that is? Willian, Jesus, Trossard, Marquinhos. Yeah. That's it. That's mad.
Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is a midfielder.
Signed as a midfielder. Sterling was alone.
That's on Mikel. Yeah, that's on him. That's him. He has. We see how much. From the documentary, Amazon documentary, saw about the whole Aubameyang situation. He has the final say. I know I do when we speak with him and interview him, he talks about we, but it's not that. Arteta has so much power when it comes to decision making. It's on him when it comes to this striker. Partly, obviously, the ownership when it comes to money, but you can't eradicate Mikel out of this argument at all.
Yeah. Brother Seamus says Kroenke only cares about the Avs, Rams and the Nuggets. I live in the States and he traded for big time players. He doesn't do anything for Arsenal. Red Dust says, when this manager was recently talking about the club's intention, is always the same, but it must be the right player, he always says. That must make sense. Need to be right for the club and the team, etc. It's screaming PR damage control for me in order to appease the supporters. Jack says, personally, I get spending more in January. Isaac, Gyökeres, etc. But if those aren't available, take a mid-striker instead of a summer for a striker with Zubimendi, mid-signings now and a big signing in the summer. Mid-signings do take up a lot of the money that you are looking to spend. I'm just saying that.
We need a huge summer, and they could have done some of the work this winter.
VM says, you guys say all this, but the Arsenal fan base has never done any meaningful protests except the Super League, or tried to hurt the Kroenke's pocket. So what's the point even talking about this? Kehegug says, I'm 100% sure that Arsenal won't progress with the current owners. To see real change, Arsenal fans need to stop buying their merchandise and season tickets. SV500 says, our transfers this summer were bizarre. Why did we loan a cup-tied goalkeeper? Jay Federer J says, looking forward to the Zubimendi daily in the summer. Miles Smith says, how can you not also look at Arteta? We needed a striker since we ripped up Aubameyang's contract. I don't blame the owners for not giving Arteta any more money. He spent more on defence and goalkeepers. Meshagu7 says, my phone is set up in a summoning circle, playing Transfer Daily on loop, believe. Ollie says, win the Champions League or Premier League this season, lads. Babatunde again says, the owners and the managers have their plans, so are the players who are watching this and saying, I need trophies for my career. Our players will leave. I'm going to do a couple more. Dane says, what about Delap? Rate the boy. One for the future and must be gettable. Also...
Up the Don, I think.
Up the Don? Okay. Me? Oh, cheers. Because he put it all in one word. I didn't see it. Cheers. True Gunners TV says, whose fault? Kroenke's or the company men? Arteta, he's got in brackets. It's a position from the same tree. What about the fan base, and how many fans are willing to stand outside the stadium and protest? Whoops, sorry, this disappeared there. And make sure that the club does what is required. Jay Cupton says, Villa also got Rodgers for 30 million in January last year. And Sud says the amount of players that have release clauses or see how opponents are doing, would it be players don't find? Sorry, the grammar's a bit all over the place there. Sorry, Suj. Arsenal are an attractive option to anyone, or is it just about spending money? And Ameli says, don't settle. Arteta, Everton game, May 19th, 2024. He said, don't settle for second best. Zyro says, there's something fishy going on behind the scenes. I'm going to do those for now. Loads of super chats coming in. Thank you very much for all of those. Like the video. I mean, let me just say, sorry to cut you there. Let me just say, just to try and add a bit of balance to it, right? Because we're all very unhappy here. But let me just try and add a bit of balance to it. It is difficult to buy players in January. That's why you have a good summer. Because they always say if you need to be buying players in January, it should only really because they be injuries.
Yeah, well, that's where we're at though.
Yeah, I know, but I think
Even
we're
before
at.
then.
I think we're at that with injuries, but we're also at that because we didn't get a striker.
Yeah,
but
that's not the other side. That doesn't strengthen.
It's difficult to get players, and I do understand when you have some fans and even like you'll have Arteta and people like that coming out and saying, listen, we don't want to just buy anybody, because you don't want to just buy anybody. And if you buy somebody and you buy them on a free, it's not like you can just buy them now and then just in the summer to say, yeah, see you later, we don't want you no more, we're going to sell you and get, I mean, it doesn't work like that. The signings you get are going to be with you for a little while. But that's why you're scouting us to be good, and that's why I just don't think.
It doesn't make.
I just don't think there's been any. I don't think there's been much forward planning here for Arsenal. I think it seems to me with Arsenal in doing Transfer Daily over the years, especially since with Arteta's the way in which he operates and when Edu was operating and that, it seems like they have their specific targets, and if they can't get them, it's almost like they don't want to get nobody else. And you can't run it like that because you're not always... Listen, there's how many hundreds of teams out there trying to get the same players?
But how many?
Right, so
must be a deal
you've got to have
done,
plan
Rob.
Bs, Cs, Ds. You know what I mean? You've got to have other options. And Saka got injured before the January transfer window. And we knew that Saka, who's torn ACL, right, needed surgery. That's 4 to 6 months out. He ain't coming back for now. They should have been actively out there trying to get somebody in early in the transfer window to replace him. They've left it late to get Ollie Watkins away from Villa. Even if you're going to pay the 60 million, even if what I understand, they had encouragement from the player and his agents, they wanted to leave, right? They did want to come to Arsenal. But it's not just up to a player. It's up to, both parties, the owners, the managers and the player. So with them losing John Duran, I see what they were trying to do there. They were trying to get in before John Duran went, and hopefully Villa would keep John Duran and let Ollie Watkins go. That is what they was hoping. It didn't come off. What's the other plan? Can't bring in nobody. It just seems weird to me.
It frustrates me.
Shambles.
It frustrates me because, and now I'm maybe talking a bit out of turn here, but it doesn't seem like a hard sell to sell and move to Arsenal. Right now we're in free competitions still. We're not guaranteed Champions League football next season, but let's just say it's going to take a lot for Arsenal to drop out maybe the top 4 next season. So when you're trying to get a player to sign and you put the project forward of Arsenal, and like you just said, it's not all up to a player, but I don't think that's the first hurdle. I think that's quite a simple thing to sell. The project of Arsenal is not a bad project to step into. And then you can go to a loan. There's a case study that we had Martin Odegaard firstly on loan before we signed him on a full contract. There's a case study to say, can we have this player on loan? He can become a permanent at the end of that if it works out well. The only thing you got to sell is obviously it's the timing. It's a January window where clubs don't want to sell their best players. But at this stage, if you're Arsenal Football Club, if you have plan A and it's someone's best player, you're going to have more than just plan A, because it's unlikely a team's going to sell their best player to you in January. So
January windows, trust me, look around the teams that have done. I think the only signing that I can look at, big signing, where within the Premier League, where a team has gone and got a player that player you would have thought that would have been really difficult to do, is Marmoush coming out of Eintracht Frankfurt. He's been having an unbelievable season. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have wanted to have sold him. I can't think of anybody else, but that's what Arsenal should have done, a similar move. Because you're paying over the odds in this window. Now, with the Sesko thing, we know that Arsenal would love to sign Sesko. With the Sesko thing, and this is something that we're never going to know, is it that it's just like no chance? Arsenal, absolutely no chance. Can you get Sesko until the summer? Or is it that an extra 15, 20 million gets you Sesko and Arsenal are unwilling to do it? Because it looks to me like with the Marmoush signing, remember Marmoush, you were talking about John Duran. Marmoush is a similar thing. We're bought for next to nothing. Been having an unbelievable season for Frankfurt. And City have had to get him out, have had to go and pay 70 million. At the start of the season, the guy's probably worth about 10. Right? So if you want the player at this time of year, you're going to have to pay way over the odds. It's as simple as that. And we were told at the start of the window that Arsenal did have money to spend.
Yeah, that's
so
as well.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
At what point are you just a bit embarrassed though? Like,
Yeah, that's-
you know, we want Sesko next summer. So we
This is
tried in the summer of 2024. We tried in January. We're going to go again. At what point do you go, move on to your next target? Are you telling me Sesko's the one player?
Of course.
Zubimendi we've wanted since January 2023. Then there was talks of Nico Williams. We've wanted him.
But all
We've
that
been
is
linked for
noise, though.
years.
All
But-
that is noise. It's like
So one or
Higuain
two-
and Benzema and Envia, and
Right.
to this day, people think we was interested in them. Someone provide the facts to me that we was interested in any of these players. Someone put the proof right here.
But the
But
embarrassing
that's no
World
better
Wide
though.
Web.
yeah, but you're
But
not going to
what
get
I'm saying is
Turkish. You're not going to get the proof.
Yeah,
Come
but
on, you're not going to
then
get
the reality
proof.
is we're talking about things that we're assuming on. Let's talk about something that's a fact now.
What is
Because
proof?
apparently Sky have come out to confirm we're not doing no business, right? Someone can confirm that in the
I
back
saw
end.
that, yeah.
The ownership need to go. The ownership need to get the hell out of this club. That is the fact. I can provide all the proof in the world to you if you ask me for proof on that. But we spend time talking about things that there's no proof on. It's assumptions. Vlahovic we tried for, that's the profile. And then we went for Jesus and Havertz. And then we went for Sesko, who turned us down to sign a contract at Leipzig. How?
Did we go to Ollie?
No one really made sense.
Because that was a bid. Is that
Brother,
what
do you
wanna
think we
see?
went for Ollie Watkins with 3-4 days to go?
40 million is not
In all
serious.
I don't know,
seriousness, I'm
okay.
saying. In all
That's not-
seriousness.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's not serious. The fact is, these men are jokers. The Cronkies, I'll tell you that they're jokers. They're jokers. they're funny guys, man. They're funny guys. I'm telling you, man. Smile this pre-season. Let's see this pre-season coming up. Smile wherever we are in pre-season. I want to see them smile and do the same shit that they've been doing the last 2 years, where they're very out there to the fans. Yeah. Be excited and bid and yeah, it's going well. Let me see you lot. Because you see them. I will demonetize this whole thing if they make me sick. They honestly make me sick. And we got one painted there. That should be gone. That should be done and dusted by the morning.
Not in the studio, by the way. He means at the ground.
It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.
I
We can
felt-
talk about these names. Sesko's name pisses me off now.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
a
know what you mean.
21-year-old Slovakian youth that's banged in about 15 goals or 10 goals in a season. Okay, nice. Was this the process? Phase 5? Is this what it was leading to? Because the reality is, again,
Isak hadn't
that's a
banged
young
it. You
striker.
can't look
and-
on it like that, because Isak hadn't banged in a load of goals when he was bought from Sociedad either. Right, so it is about identifying talent and bringing players in. But my biggest thing is, I'm just looking at this window now. Right, they failed with not bringing in a striker in the last window. I'm looking at this window. Everybody can see it's short.
Manager said
Everybody
it.
said it.
Manager said
Everyone.
So
it. The manager says it.
there is nowhere to hide for anybody. You can't just say, "Oh, we couldn't find anybody." What about Asensio, who's just gone from even that would help out, wouldn't it?
It would help out because then when
Why
Erie
didn't
can actually
Arsenal?
help
You know the
Odegaard
one. You
in
know
midfield a bit.
You know the one that's really baffled me. Why didn't Arsenal try and have a go for Kola Mwani, who's gone to?
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, a couple of years ago, he went for nearly £100 million
Yeah.
to PSG. It hasn't worked out. He was available on a straight loan.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, it was for PSG.
And Juventus,
They
he's gone
paid
to
that
Juventus
much
now.
for
He's
him.
already
Yeah.
scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
He's already scored 3 goals. £76 million. Sorry, all right.
Yeah.
I was
If
thinking,
I had to guess, I'd
I
have
was
said
thinking-
45.
I was thinking euros, but he was a big money
100
signing for
euros.
PSG. Didn't work out.
Unbelievable.
Why did listen? At this stage, I think Arsenal should even have gone for Rashford. It would have been better than nothing.
It still would have been indicative of the
You know what I mean? Just a loan.
shit ownership. But
Yeah, but
I get
a loan-
your
Yeah,
point.
it's
I get your
Better
point.
than nothing, innit?
Yeah.
A loan till the end of the
Everything's
season.
better than nothing. That's why when he said you're going to give context and give the other side, like, you can't just pick up anyone.
No, but you know what? You know what? It's not even that anything is better than nothing. Obviously, anything isn't better than nothing. But what we're saying is, scouts, can you step forward, please? You know, Jason Ato, transfer team, can we step forward? Can we do something a little bit creative? I mentioned that John Duran was a signing from Chicago Fire for 12 million, whatever it was, in January 2023. My thing is, when have Arsenal ever pulled out that kind of signing? Actually, I do remember Martinelli for 6 million, 18-year-old, came and had an impact we didn't expect. How often do Arsenal make the signing where you go, fair play to the scouting team? Now, we're all sitting here going, oh, Sesko in the summer, Sesko.
Martinelli was also a chance. Sorry, he was actually at Watford. There's a whole story behind it. He was at Watford, and there's a story behind it.
Okay, fine.
But even that was by chance.
Do you know when I first heard about Sesko? He wasn't at Leipzig, he was at Salzburg. Now, maybe you could say because the club relationships or whatever, that move was there. But Moises Caicedo, do you know when I first heard about him? When Man United wanted him, Brighton picked him up for £3 million. That's why I was annoyed that we didn't get this fair Nipan deal done. Now, to a degree, I can't get
But
mad
that's
at...
not what we need right now.
No, I know, but when
they're probably
we never...
they're probably going to get that done in the summer, but that's not what's needed.
But we've been
right
brainwashed
now.
into
Need a
thinking
striker.
unless we get the £100 million striker, that is the one player we absolutely want, then basically there's no one
No,
we
we
can add to do
need
any
more
good.
than that. But some of those other signings can wait till the summer. The one that can't wait for me is a striker, stroke, even forward player. All right, you can't get exactly what you want now. We understand that, but bring in somebody. Bring in somebody. Be very proactive. Be out there. Be looking around to see who can come on a loan. Can we pay a loan fee for someone
Barcola
of
could
a
be an option. He's
£4
happy at the
million
moment.
or whatever, £5 million loan fee to get, because we need help. We need help up front. I'm not even talking now. January, as I said, is not always a long planning thing, because you only have to look at the window. There's certain players there that seem obvious signings to every club.
Yeah.
Somebody like a Gyökeres, but you can't get him because a player.
Where are
I remember
scouts for
we-
Gyökeres? What were they doing?
No, but when I was over in Portugal, I remember, like, you speaking to the fans there, Sporting, they're very confident. He ain't going nowhere. That guy is going to stay with us till the end of the season. Then he's going to go. And there's a lot of players who'll be thinking, like, it doesn't matter how much money you bring to them in January. They're looking at it and thinking, you know what? It's January. And when the January transfer window closes, right? And this is even probably how the Cronkies are looking at it as well. But when the January window closes, you've got February, March, April, then May. That's it. 4 months, then the season's over. So somebody like a Gyökeres is thinking, I've been at Sporting, I've done brilliantly here, I've built up a great reputation. I've got 4 months to go. We're still in the Champions League, 2 legs. We're top of the league, because Sporting are top of the league. You know what? I know that unless I get injured, I'm getting my move at the end of the season to wherever. There's like 4 or 5 clubs have already spoken to my agent. So I know I'm going to get that big move. The club know that we're going to get a big money for him. So there's players like that that are really, really hard to get in January. That's facts. That's why you see, it's not just Arsenal looking for strikers, there's Man United, there's loads of clubs looking. You can't get players like that all the time this month. It's really difficult to do.
The problem is we get
Right?
none of the time.
None.
But
once.
you could have got someone like that in the summer. But what you can do in this month is you can start to get a bit more creative. So you can look around and say, right, who's available like that we could loan? Might have to pay a loan fee for it, but who's available like that? Who's available that could come in and do a job for us? He ain't going to be our main guy, but could do a job for us in the interim and help out. but we ain't done nothing to do nothing. Nothing at all. That's crazy.
Before the window started, I called the window delicious. And the menu expanded as the days
Oh,
went.
yeah, he did.
Kvaratskhelia became available. What did he go for? 60 M's? Come on. Like, that's a player that
It's about
improved
70 million. That
guaranteed 70, 60, whatever it is, we've got it. How do you not entertain that? How do you... Lookman, 45 million release clause. Yeah. So forget it. Okay, Gyökeres for a second.
No, but I think, again, with the Lookman thing, they were never Atalanta. They're in the Champions League. They're going well in the Champions League. They're not going to let...
Nico Williams?
Nico Williams,
Rob,
same thing. He doesn't want to go.
He wants 300 grand a week. Move on. Go to someone else.
There are going to be some players...
week.
Honestly, I've spoken to agents on this. There are some players, they ain't going nowhere in January. It's virtually impossible to get them away from a club. But then there's other players that are doable.
You know,
like you said, I think the Ollie Watkins thing.
I think it's
this is my listen. I don't know this 100%. My sort of theory on Ollie Watkins.
I feel like it's dead.
As I said, there's John Duran, there's Ollie Watkins. We know that there's been disputes there. Both of them want to play as a striker. It's looking like they were going to keep John Duran, right? And Ollie Watkins, people put it out there to Arsenal. Yes, he'd be willing to come. Yeah. That's how it went. Arsenal now going in there, they don't want to pay the mega money for him because they're looking at him thinking, well, look, he's turning 29 now. We're willing to do 40 odd million and that. In that time, what happened to Arsenal, right, is that in that time now that they're flapping about with that fee, right, Al Nassr, who were about to buy Victor Boniface from Bayer Leverkusen, and they were going to buy him for 50 million, changed their mind and went in for Duran. So when Duran got bought now, all of a sudden now, Villa are like, well, we can't let Ollie Watkins go. Ollie Watkins, now you're going to have to stay. And Ollie Watkins, you're going to play because you're going to be our main guy now. So all of a sudden, that deal becomes really difficult. Only way you're going to get that deal now is you've got to come in big. And Arsenal obviously didn't want to come in big. All right, you don't want to go big for Watkins. What next? Who else have you got lined up? That's what I'm talking about. And this is the problem. But it is a difficult window, January. You've got players like Jonathan David at Lille, who's available on a free at the end of the season. This is another conundrum. We have to put context to these things,
linked
right?
to time back as well.
But Jonathan David, this is how the intricacies of the market. Jonathan David is available on a free in the summer. Lots of clubs are interested in Jonathan David now. And are willing to go, I forget which club it is, they went and bid 10 million for him, right? Which, that's a good fee for a player who's going to walk away. But a lot of players now are saying to themselves, even when they can walk away for free, they're going, you know what? I'd rather walk away at the end of the season for nothing. The Lille fans will laud me up and say, well done, and I'll be getting my wages and that. And then at the end of the season now, I choose wherever I want to go, and I demand a high signing on fee because I'm free. So that again makes players like that difficult to get. So that's why the big mess up is when you mess it up from the summer and you've got to start dealing in that January market now. Be prepared to pay over the odds. The only way you're going to get Jonathan David now is that you're going to have to go in way over 30, 40 million for a guy who you can get
He's not the one either.
In 4 months.
I'm sorry, he's a Balogun, Eddie Nketiah sort of profile. He's not the one. If people are looking to get him, listen, we've worked him in the Canadian national team, CONCACAF. He's not the one. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's difficult.
Even Evan Ferguson went on loan, so I've just seen that as well.
Seriously,
the Evan Ferguson one, I can tell you.
I went to West Ham.
When we was at Brighton, and who I spoke to at Brighton.
Sugar, yeah.
You know who I spoke to at Brighton?
Of course, yeah.
Right?
the most reliable source.
And I was told then, that was about 3 weeks ago, Robbie, he ain't going to Arsenal because at Arsenal he's not guaranteed to start. We don't want to sell him. We just want to send him out on a loan for him to play because we still think he's an unbelievable talent, but he's not playing. So we're going to send him out on loan till the end of the season. Right,
it's a great
and
line.
Then he comes back.
It's a great line.
And we're sending him to West. He said to me now, he goes,
"He said it's you then."
Yeah, you remember I told you that then. He said the club that we're more likely to send him to is West Ham because they've got no Mikel Antonio because Antonio's out, Bowen's injured. Right, he's gonna play there. Go there, play, do well, come back. Then we'll think about either keeping him or we sell him on. these are the difficulties that
annoys me more.
we see. A lot of these things are unseen to us sometimes. So they wouldn't sell him to Arsenal. They wouldn't even loan him to Arsenal because they're just saying he just ain't going to play.
Well, that's annoying because that's annoyed me more.
Not going to play enough. Should I say?
That's annoyed me more though because West Ham fans will say the same. Like before Mikel Antonio,
he's going to start there though.
Yeah, but we still. Before Mikel Antonio got his tragic car crash, they needed a striker. Their fans were saying we still need a striker. Now he's
no,
gone.
but you remember, right?
We're similar. We need a striker.
But listen, remember, in the case of this is why he'll play loads of games there because Mikel Antonio's out, full crew got injured with a hamstring injury, right? And Bowen was out as well. So that's what they're saying. They go, we know when we send him there, he's going to play lots of games. We send him to Arsenal. We send him to Arsenal. Well, I'm telling you what the man told me.
I know, but he could have played.
That's so...
It's just annoying. I was laughing earlier as well because you mentioned about January is really for stopgaps. They're there for...
It is.
But then Trossard and Jorginho and Jakub Kivior were 2 years ago. And
but they weren't they're not main signings. Trossard, we wanted Mudryk, we got Trossard. Kivior was kind of an out of blue signing. All right, I get that, but
they're still here, and they do play minutes.
Yeah, but they're
not starting players.
How can you want Mudryk and then not want Kvaratskhelia? That's what I don't get. Make that make sense. That's why I don't believe none of this bullshit. I don't care if it comes from Ornstein, Romano, or these clowns yesterday that decided after the game, let me start doing emojis.
Don't even because
like the Twitter that place.
What was that?
Just some bullshit, you know, Twitter, man. You know, whatever it's called. Like, and then everyone's tweeting, going viral, and it's just some bullshit. Literally some bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter. We went for Mudryk, but Kvaratskhelia just went just like that 60 M's, and we didn't even talk. Apparently Liverpool even inquired, but we didn't talk. How did that make sense?
Wait, is there no one coming? Is it? It's not confirmed.
It's looking highly unlikely. DM said, excuse me, with the super chat, he says Sky Sports, Arsenal, no business.
Where is that?
At the end of it. Well, they didn't say no business. The guy from Sky said it's looking highly unlikely. Well, I could have told him that. Yeah, Anajit says 2 windows, has a fractured team, squad and fans between those with ambition and those without dangerous precedent. Lindo says, I don't want to hear it's difficult to buy players in January. Everyone else is getting players in. We're always 1 to 2 players away from doing things. Everyone's not getting... Listen, I'm with you in being frustrated, but everyone is not getting in players. There's not loads of... If you compare what's bought and sold in January to the summer, it's night and day, especially now with PSR. Like, as I said, I spoke to Matty earlier. Newcastle have not bought a player. There's a lot of teams that have only just loaned players. There's a lot of teams that need players. I mean, I see Man United fans absolutely losing it as well because they haven't really signed anybody either. Apart from the left back. Dennis says, why did we sell Eddie and not buy anyone? We bought Mourinho and Calafiori, and they're sitting on the bench. The summer window was a real disappointment. AFC 12 says the Cronkies haven't spent 1 penny of their own money. ESR and Nketiah covered our summer, and now there's nothing in January. Happy with second. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, when will we learn, as long as KSE owns the club, we will not win a league? They don't care about Arsenal, only their American franchises. Lawrence says, makes me laugh when the club says they have no money for new signings, yet they keep bringing out new training tops every 3 weeks, £100 a pop. How many tops have Arsenal bought out this season? Noted says, this is the same tactics they played with Arsenal. Zubimendi will not be here in the summer. The truth in the summer is if they don't sell, they won't buy. I King in Black says, fan base lords Arteta for the same things we laughed at Poch for 4 years. Trophyless and too many people act like it's good. The owners are a disgrace too. Noted also says, in the US, there is no consequence for losing. There is no relegation. These greedy billionaires have their business secured in England football. And he said, in England, in football is a religion. We must get these people out. Valibab, is that? He says, the hate that Haaland got should be directed towards the Cronkies. We have to stay humble. because of our owners. George Perez says, to make it worse, Paulo Javier left Madrid for Arsenal, and he was credited for scouting Vinny and Rodrigo.
Yeah, I remember that PR storm. We just got Real Madrid's big scout. Did he actually arrive? Did he come?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't give a shit about these.
No, it says we should be discussing how to get them out and not moan about what they do anymore. Levy has taken Spurs hostage. The Cronkies will take us hostage. Bashman84 says Edu is a big mess. Deals could have been made. Dr. Seymour says Cavatscalia, Jimenez, that's another one who lived from Feyenoord, and Douglas Luiz should have been a plan. I'm not sure if we needed Douglas Luiz. Cal's Corner says Nico Williams, Zubimendi and Isak ain't coming. Summer is going to be Sesko, a goalkeeper and another defender. Mark my words. Darren AFC says do not rely on us getting Zubimendi in the summer. Prifwajaf says, Robbie, you missed my previous super chat. Sorry if I did. Just like Kai is missing chances. And this is the second time you did this in the past week.
Don't worry, I've got all the other
started.
Yeah.
All right. It says, forget about Arsenal. AFTV need James replacement for the guy in front of the gadgets. Gadgets? What's that?
No idea. Yeah,
You're going to replace a guy who does gadgets?
Sure.
Arwin says we could have gone for Boniface on loan. Eddie on loan says no, that would please Turkish. Panvadit says Haaland pointed to the Premier League badge and told Gabriel he'll never win it, and he's right. Cronkies have no ambition, and our warriors like Gabriel suffer for this. Bashman84 says Villa got 3 players. Arsensio was one of our targets. I'm not sure he was, to be honest. And we couldn't even get one. Villa have ambition and are building a great attack. Michael Robinson says, no new forward options, but our midfield and our back four are the envy of world football. You cannot ignore that fact. Lee Hogan says, David Ornstein was just on in the States and said Arsenal are keeping their powder dry for the summer. Said that Mikel didn't want to just bring in any old body. AB50.
Shut up, David.
AB50 says
That
Turkish.
just talks fucking nonsense. Why didn't you tell us 3 days ago, Mr. In the Know? Why didn't you tell us 3 days ago, keeping the powder dry? All of a sudden, 3 hours to go, it's come that they're keeping the powder dry. Surprise, fucking surprise.
AB15 says Turkish, give the Cronkies a break. They're the best owners in the Premier League. Nelly Nelson, 1987, says, give Turkish the mic. You talk nonsense, bro. Is he on about me or the other guy? It's footy, not soccer, says Rob. Villa just confirmed Disasi. That's like their 6th deal. So, Robbie, you're just making excuses for incompetence. Again, context, they have just sold a player for £60 million. Their best player, by what a lot of their fans have been saying.
What's our record sale?
I'm not too sure. Disasi's a great. Yeah, that's the other thing. Joe Willock. We do have to listen. We do have to say that, maybe. Right? Just because you know, a lot of people see a load of players coming in now and say, well, why don't we just go load up with a load of players? What would you be happy if we brought in Disasi? Come on.
No, but you know what it is, Robbie? Do you know what it is? It's
the frustration because we brought in nobody. That's what it is.
No, but it's evidence that adds to how we operate in the transfer window. Apparently Ismail Kabir, the 18-year-old exciting young winger talent, was meant to get a loan today, and it hasn't happened. There's real criticism about these academy players. Yes, we can talk about Lewis Skelly Waneri, who look like sensational talents getting their opportunities, but a lot of young players aren't getting loans to develop, aren't getting particular moves.
Well, when was the last time? Maybe they haven't sent that Kabir out on loan. We'll think about it because
we might need to use nobody him. Well, okay,
so short.
Maybe, but here we are now. We're talking about John Duran, right? They got money because they sold a John Duran. They also sold Douglas Luiz for 50 million. They also sold someone else in the summer, Moussa Diaby, for I think 55 million. I think our record sale ever is still Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at 40 million pounds about 7-8 years ago. Like, Smith Rowe, I think, is the biggest sell under this kind of new model since Arteta came in at 34 million. We don't address the problems we really need to. We don't spread the resources in a balanced way across the whole squad. We don't sell for good money. We're not actually selling academy players. Look at the money that City have got for their academy players. Haaland, amazing, some of the players they've produced. But City, you know, we talk about, well, they should have kept Rodgers, they should have kept Palmer, they should have kept... But look at the money they got for these players too.
Yeah.
Like, on so many levels, we fail in the transfer window.
Yes, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
On so
But then you could-
number one.
many levels.
Yeah, but
It's
you could
Nicholas
argue-
Anelka after that.
You could.
Oh, fuck me. Is it
could-
actually?
35
No, but
million
you could argue.
euros.
You could also argue, though, James. Right? Again, you have to put some context. This right. That yes, you're right. But somebody like a Moussa Diaby was bought in for mega money.
And sold for mega money.
Hold on, was bought in for mega. No, he wouldn't have made as much profit as what you did.
Vieira left on loan with no option or obligation. We could use him.
No, but listen. Well, I
He's
said
playing
that.
in
I would have
Porto.
bought that Vieira, but somebody like a Balogun and somebody like Smith Rowe, and listen, this is
That was
gonna
30 million.
this is gonna
That's
add to the this is gonna actually add to the criticism of the Cronkies, right? Those are more profitable deals than Moussa Diaby. Because Moussa Diaby was bought in for
Sure,
big money,
fine.
and then what did they pay for him? I think it was about nearly 35 million, and then they've sold him for like 50, right? Whereas Balogun is pure profit.
Yeah, 30 million. Yeah.
Smith Rowe is pure profit. So is Eddie Nketiah, pure profit. Those are actually way better bits of business than Diaby, because people always forget about.
That's a good point.
People always forget. People just see the fee that a player sold for, but what did you bring that player for? And actually, Diaby was a big, because they bought in Diaby and literally sold him straight away the next season. So they've not really.
But you're missing a
That's
big
not
point
really been
here.
a good bit of business.
It
The
has
ones-
been,
the
because
one-
he came in and they got Champions League
No, no,
football. So he
look-
came in for 40 something or whatever. They got Champions League football, the highest Villa have got in years and years and years. And then they sold him for more money, if not about the same.
You know what's
Balogun
crazy?
and Nketiah contributed nothing to us getting to where we wanted to get to,
You know what's-
with all due respect.
I'm just talking about the pure money side of
I
it.
hear that as a
on
business
those
decision, I hear
those
that, but
those
it's all business
those bits of
decisions.
business that Arsenal did is generated money that they should have used in the summer and got a striker.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that, because those are pure profit. When you look at the PSR things, when you sell your homegrown talent, it's pure profit. Those are more profitable than bringing in somebody for 30 million and you sell him for 50 and you talk about you made a big profit. Somebody like Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah, Eddie, Joe
Pure
Willock,
profit.
Balogun,
Joe Willock.
Emil Smith.
They sold a lot of these
Yeah, they
guys.
have, to be fair. Yeah, they have. But
Where's what have they used that on?
does
Right? That's
makes-
what they should have
makes it more
used and got a
frustrating.
striker. Right? Last season when we were waiting on Sesko, then go and get someone else. Can't wait. Now that has directly led to the position we're in now. Right? Because if you had even Havertz wouldn't be come under so much criticism if we had a striker. We'd probably look on him as a very good player that you can bring off the bench, or if that striker's not too doing it, he can play in that thing.
We can't get away from how damaging that signing was, though.
Which one?
You know, that's where a lot of the, that's where the percentages of Mikel's part to play in
Havertz.
this lies. Yeah, Havertz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Terrible.
very expensive signing.
Terrible.
Yeah, and on the most.
DM says, Turkish, get on the mic and say it. The original GOAT. Michael Harper says, how long will our world-class players stay at Arsenal without winning anything? Raya, Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Odegaard and Rice will move on. Mike T says, they come to your Prem team and they stay for the bets casino, and that's the real money for these billionaires. Same is going on in the NBA. Blicky94 says, Mamouche, Caviar, Xavi Simons, Jimenez, Wahi. That's another player I think Arsenal should have tried to have got. That Wahi, he went out on loan. Could have improved us. Even getting anyone in on loan would have been. Couldn't even get Naipan over the line. Vlojan says, I waited for the Turkish interview after the game yesterday. T. Sal says, rumours of Zinchenko to go out, and even that is nothing. He has no use in the squad. Joke club sometimes. Jeremy
He's got
says...
to be a midfielder now. I'm serious.
Cucho Hernandez to Betis would have been better than what we have for probably 5 to 10 million. Blicky 94 says, looking forward to seeing the strong links to Isak, Zubimendi and Williams
Yeah.
just before the season tickets and kits are released.
Yeah.
Fayaz says the only transfer this summer are Saliba and Saka out. It's footy, not a soccer says, the point is actually serious about a deal. You can get it done. We sold Eddie, who came in, Sterling. Bashment 84 says, if we made 40 to 60 mil bid for Watkins, Why not Osimhen? Money is there to spend the money and to do the buyout clauses. Again, Osimhen is I think I would have been happy with Osimhen. Arsenal 13-180 says we spent 60 million on our 7th left back, only to realise that an 18-year-old homegrown midfielder is our best left back. Nelly Nelson 1987 says Turkish wishing he was with Curtis Shaw. Real talk. Lawrence Emmanuel says, Robbie, was it worth getting up at the crack of dawn to do Transfer Daily? Probably not.
Are you having a line tomorrow, Robbie?
I'm having a serious...
Please do.
Bro, I'm lying in tomorrow.
Bless your heart,
I'm
waking up
forgetting about
every
Arsenal.
day.
True Gunners TV says, how long until our best players start moving on to win trophies? I give it 18 months maximum before Gabriel, Saliba and Saka start getting offers.
18 months is what
I think Saliba will get offered this summer.
I include
OG
Arteta in that
says,
too, by the way.
Robbie, I'm back.
Before he
Remember
walks.
our bet? Yes.
What was your bet? Oh,
I said, you know what?
Signing,
I said that we'd sign somebody, and he said we wouldn't. Yes, you're right. I owe you money. Look at that. It's even costing me money. OGN D Brown says, Robbie, aren't you tired of making excuses for every aspect of the club? Isn't it draining? I'm not making excuses for anybody. What I try to do here, I'm trying to put a bit of context on it because I do understand a lot about how certain deals go. I am not making an excuse for not getting a striker.
Should the owners go?
Should the owners go? Well, listen, it's a... First of all, you know what I need? You know what, right? It's a dereliction of duty by the owners, but is it just them?
No, but
have they given them money?
The context here. You said talk about context. Let's talk about context. 20 years deep now. It's not it's just not 20 days. They've got a goal.
They've not delivered.
They've got a goal, Rob.
Listen, I always look at it in this, right? The owners of Arsenal Football Club, right, which the Kroenkes were at the time.
They're disgusting owners.
Moved into the Emirates Stadium and said, we are moving here to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich. All right, we're competing in the league now. We are competing, but I can't fathom why they're not just, like you said earlier, Turkish, we're close. When you saw that game yesterday, listen, City used to... That's why Haaland walked off like that when he scored that goal, because what used to happen is after that is what we did to them, they used to do to us. But we did it to them. And actually, Arsenal this season, and this is the thing that really frustrates me, they've had a lot of adversity. The injuries that we've had, the sending offs, all those sort of things. And even with all that, they're second in the league and they've finished third in the Champions League group. Go and give the man them now that extra bit to go and win it. I agree with you on that. Why are we not doing that? What's the point in waiting till the summer? Then this season's dead again.
But they're talking about anyone...
Like you said, we pay our money to go week in, week out. On Wednesday, I'm going Newcastle. With my own money, we are hiring our own car to go all the way up there to support the team. Give the manager the extra resources. If he's not taking it, I'd like to know who's responsible for this. Is he getting the extra money? Or is it just poor planning? What is it?
But why are they not saying...
said it. Sorry, Cecil. Somebody said it earlier. If we don't sign somebody... someone, if it was probably Mikel Arteta or somebody, has to come out and explain why. And it can't be just, we didn't see anybody.
They'll give it to the journalist. They'll brief the journalist, and the journalist will tell us what the club want us to hear.
But are we? Is there going to be a plan for the summer that we're going to sign? I don't hear someone saying, I don't see Arteta saying, we need a strike. Yeah, we've been saying it. But
you know, we've had 12, maybe 13, I just counted, 12, maybe 13 transfer windows under Mikel Arteta. He hasn't signed not one recognised goal scorer.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Because Jesus is not a recognised
goal scorer. Who's that down to? This is what I'm saying. Who's that down to, James? Because they're not exactly releasing information.
The manager's got to take responsibility.
But Arteta must be saying to the Kroenkes, listen, in the summer window, okay, we've got Calafiori, Mekamarini. He must be saying, listen, we do need a striker.
Why did you buy Calafiori? This is where, listen, you people know where the blame lies to me, right?
I hear that.
There ain't no two ways about it with me. Fuck these owners, yeah? That's where the blame lies, right?
Fair.
But you see, Mikel, why did you buy Calafiori? We need a fucking striker, brother. And he's not even a left back. You signed a centre back to play him left back.
But this is
why are you experimenting on the five? Why are you buying Havertz in the 8?
Do you remember? What are you doing?
Do you
remember we was there at the press conference? So he was asked, why have you bought Calafiori? And he said, I bought Calafiori because he goes, last season, and this is exactly why we should be buying a striker and that now. So I don't know if you guys remember. Was you at the conference?
Yeah.
We was at
the Phillies.
I think Robbie went
outside.
in. Robbie went in.
He was
by
outside.
himself.
This is what he said, right? He was asked by a journalist, how comes you bought Calafiori? Because you kind of got, you've kind of got centre backs. Because remember, Calafiori was a centre back. He's playing as a centre back for, is it Genoa or
Bologna?
Bologna, yeah. And for Italy as well. And he said, I bought in Calafiori because last year we were a bit short in the centre back here, and we got lucky. He said, because there was no injury really to Saliba or Gabriel, and we got to go the whole season without injuries there. So he said, I bought in Calafiori because he can play as a centre back and as a left back, right? So it gives great cover for both of those areas.
So what is this?
So that made sense. But why have we not done the same in the attacking?
That's what doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
I didn't make no sense.
The media have dropped with the Martins of Mendy in the summer. But again, like, if you're wanting a striker so much, it's so evident we need one. I'm not saying this is against PR to appease the fans. Why are they not say in the summer that we're close to agreeing a striker? I know we need a striker now, but there's no attention or like push. It doesn't feel like enough for a striker apart from these ITKs. It's not coming from the club. So what's I don't understand it. I don't understand that.
Jay Cupton says, Robbie, you say this, but Villa needed a centre-back because the only one fit right now is Konsa, so they're addressing their issues unlike Arsenal. Yeah, that's why they have bought in Disassi. I mean, he's not the greatest player in the world, but Jack says all it takes is one or two more injuries and it's game over. That's the other thing. What if Ethan Nwaneri did get injured?
Yeah, he's been injured.
What if Havertz picks up an ACL, God forbid, or Martinelli is out with a hamstring injury? Then what? That can easily happen. The amount of games they're having to play. Wilson Clan says no deals. Okay, we weren't buying anyone. We ain't buying any merch. It's now straight business. We are fans, not customers. Big up to Turkish. Abby's angle says if Mikel has no plan to buy a striker, why did he sell Cheeto? He didn't sell Cheeto.
Yeah, we had no choice on that one.
He had no choice in that one. Cheeto's was on a scholarship and decided to walk away, which he has the choice to do. He could have had the same pathway as Ethan and MLS. He left because he wasn't promised a pathway into the senior squad. I'll tell you another player who I saw play in the youth. I thought it was quite impressive. That Mika Beriev. He went on loan to Sturm Graz. Then he was bought permanently. He's a striker. They sold him literally straight away now to Monaco, with which, by the way, Arsenal have got a big sell on in that. And, in his first game for Monaco, he scored a hat-trick. We could have done with him. Sonny says, Robbie, big up from Tampa. Been a Gooner since 7. He's 36 now. Arteta brought us back into the competition circle. Now we need a further push with a winger and a striker to get us that Premier League and Champions League. It's time. Prime says, God help us if Kai gets injured. And if so, what are our options up front? I don't know. Maybe he's going to play Marino up there. I want to hear Turkish, my man, to answer this one. What I mean, if Kai Havertz gets up front, the guy's asking, what are our options?
If he gets injured, yeah.
If Kai is up front, what's the options?
Yeah, I don't know why you're asking me. I'm like,
no, he's just asking you. He's just
like, well, we need a striker regardless of that. Like, I don't understand this whole telling strikers apparently that you're going to be behind Havertz. That doesn't make sense to me. A striker needs to come in and be, taking that position and making it their own. I don't believe none of this nonsense, man. You think Sesko's going to be scared to take the position of Kai? Kai's not even a striker. So all this noise and stuff, it's hard to really take serious, man. So yeah, without. But the fact of the matter is, we knew we needed a striker December the 20th, the day before Saka got injured. The expectation was this club needs to sign a striker before Saka got injured.
Before
the season started.
Can I just raise one more point really quickly? I was just thinking when you're talking about needing a striker. So if they say Arsenal keep their powder dry, whatever that means for the summer.
What does that mean?
It means they're clearly trying to just keep their resources for the summer where they could do the business they want to do. Hold on a sec. Let's do some maths. We want Zubimendi because we're losing Jorginho and probably Partey. That's £50 million.
which we should be offering another contract.
Sesko is going to be no less than 50 million because that was his release clause last time, and he signed a new deal. So it's going to be about 70. It's 120 million pounds. We also know we need probably a winger as well, and maybe another creative player. We're already 120 million pounds in. So all this, we want the perfect player here, the perfect player there, the perfect player there. That's going to cost you 300-400 million. Even I'm not unreasonable enough to ask that. So somewhere along the line, there's got to be a 30 million pound addition that does a job, a 45 million pound player that you know covers a couple positions, maybe isn't a starter but plays a part. Why could that signing have not been this month? Why was there not anyone that was like, because squad building isn't just we're always spending 70 million pounds on every player to continue to improve things. There's got to be players. That's why I didn't hate on the Calafiori and Marino signings, because I thought, yeah, well, we needed depth in those positions. They come in, they add to the squad, but you only actually accept those if you do the other business you need to. That's a far higher priority.
But to do that, you have to make sales, right? You also have 300 million or 100 million, but obviously to balance that out, you make sales to kind of make that obviously that fee less and less. But I'm just trying to think, Rob, what happened to all those sales like Rumen's Kieran, there's Zinchenko, and is that just are we keeping them now then?
No, Kieran Celtic wanted to take Kieran Tierney now, and Arsenal refused to let him leave because obviously they want bodies. And also the same with Jorginho. Flamengo over in Brazil, they wanted him. They wouldn't let him go. And the thing is, James, what you said there is true, but also the amount of players that are going to be leaving where their contracts expire in the summer is going to free up. They're going to have a lot of money in the summer. That's going to be another interesting one to watch, right? Because the wage bill,
I don't think so.
It's going to be greatly. They're going to have a lot of money in the summer.
Yeah, but from wage,
Thomas Partey's going to go.
No?
He's on 200 grand a week. He's going to be going. Jorginho's on £100,000 a week. He's going.
That's going.
Kieran Tierney's on £100,000 a week.
That money's going to Saliba, Saka, Odegaard.
Kieran Tierney,
contracted.
He's going.
Right? He's injured. Yeah.
Honestly, like they're going to have money. I'm just going back to it, right? I was just thinking, like, again, forward players were light, yeah. I still can't understand how comes we didn't bring back Fabio Vieira. There's also, I forgot his name now, Lazio.
Nuno Tavares.
Nuno Tavares has been having a good season. Rather than nothing. What's it to bring them back?
Look at us. Fabio Vieira and Nuno Tavares.
No, I'm saying.
Look at us.
Back to the future, bro. Or something like that.
Rob. Look at us.
Listen.
Look where we're at. Rob.
That's not ideal. But they'd have nothing.
The Vieira want to hear you.
I don't even hear the Vieira one.
I don't want to hear it.
Nuno Tavares has been having
play where? Fabio Vieira to play where?
Nuno Tavares has been having
Bodies.
Nuno Tavares has been having a way better season than Fabio. He's been doing very well at Lazio. They want to buy him on a permanent deal.
Yeah, but
if we're short, I'm just saying, rather than nothing, what happens if there's some injuries to these players? I don't listen. We should be buying players or loaning, but how we got players out on loan then, and we're going to leave ourselves short?
Players don't deserve this, man. After that performance against City and
they don't.
Efforts of the last.
Let me. There's so many super chats. Let me get through some more. Chris Fraser says the Cronkies only want top four. Simple. These younger fans are going to find out. They're going to learn a hard lesson that us older fans have known for decades. Once players like Saliba and Saka leaves because we win nothing. Sam Smith says, you all need to apologise to Turkish. He's the only one that sees it for what it is. The club know we are short and they have done nothing. Criminal.
West Ham are 1-0 up.
West Ham are 1-0 up, okay.
Yes, Chelsea.
Kieran says, Watkins looks more and more like a PR stunt so they can say that they tried just seems like negligence when everyone can see what we need. Lawrence Emmanuel says, on the front of my Arsenal shirt is a cannon because I follow Arsenal FC. Unlike the deluded AKBs in our fan base who have a Spanish clown, oh my God, on their shorts because they think this is Arteta FC on their shorts. Perry says, do you think Delap for 40 million would have done a job? I don't think Delap would have been sold. I don't think Delap would have been sold.
Not for 40 million.
No, Ipswich.
They signed him for a lot, I think.
Yeah, and plus as well, Ipswich, they'll go down without Delap. They're probably going to go down anyway. That's why they couldn't get Cunha. Cunha did want to join Arsenal, but you're never going to get him because they're in a relegation battle, Wolves. And that Cunha deal, we all know that he's going in the summer.
Yep.
It's a deal just to raise his wage up until he can walk away in the summer on a release clause. Today's laugh says, have you not realised yet? We have a stadium upgrade to pay for. Expect to hear this soon. All the best.
No, don't read that.
Right. Gucci Bucket Hat says, with this super chat, I spent more than Arsenal in January. And it was a $1.99 super chat, and he's right. He spent more than Arsenal did. Callie's Corner says, thanks for keeping it real, Turkish. Appreciate it. Dutty Biggs says, Stan Kroenke literally said that he didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies, and now we're puzzled that they don't want this. They don't want to win no trophies.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Pox says, brothers, we should have done a charity stream for the Kroenkes and donated to buy even just some cover for our attackers. Gucci Bucket Hat says, Arsenal are the only club who don't reward you for overcoming adversity. It's almost like we are obsessed with trying to win with having less.
I hear it.
That's the point. Alex says, I think our wages are so high that could be hindering us transfer-wise. Big up to the panel.
Ours isn't that high compared to... If you go to other clubs, it's not actually that high. It's some of the players that are on that money is not under...
What save that was. James Bond says Cecil was flown out to LA and dined with the Kroenkes. Turkish said he wants them out. You did our top boat. Man, so I've got shut up, Utes. You wasn't flown out to LA.
I was not flown out. I'm not a bad bee, bro.
Was he flown out to dine with the Kroenkes?
It was a coincidence they were there.
Man was flown out, you know.
He was, wasn't he?
That is a sad story.
They're going to run that narrative now.
Oh, my days. Gunatel says, we should have gone in well over the top to get Sesko and Williams. We wouldn't need to buy in the summer.
What was his name? Gunatel?
Yeah.
So we have one tell today.
Could have won the Champions League with them making the free. Gary Rickwood says, maybe top players don't want to join us. Paul S says, Arteta will walk in the summer. Him and Rice publicly asked for signings in the last few weeks. Rohill says, the reason the Kroenkes are happy with top four is they have no ambition. Lawrence Emmanuel, what happens if Sterling gets injured? Then we're really well and truly effed. He's not really produced much since he's been here, to be fair. Goyard Glow, Arteta doesn't want to jeopardise Havertz's position. GF says Arteta went to La Masia and worked under Pep. They believe in passing the ball in the net, passing the ball into the net, I think is what he's trying to say. That's why they never prioritise strikers. Well, listen, they got Haaland. Pep's got Haaland, and now he's brought in Mamouche. Paul S., if the owners are not supporting Mikel and the team, is disappointed. Nino says 5 years and no recognised striker. Mikel Arteta is to blame. Aaron, we had a chance to do something special. Now we look let down again. Michael says, who James think will sign at this moment in time?
No one.
Do you have it?
I don't even think Isak, Sesko, all that stuff in the summer. Isak's going to cost 200 million.
Isak's not minimum.
We need to let that one go. It's getting a bit stalkerish.
It's very weird
about him.
It's very weird.
It's constantly, but Isak. They don't want to sell. He's not going to come. Let's just leave it.
Move on. Red Dust says it's like Arsenal is playing like in hardcore mode, strict referee settings, and doing the win the league without a striker challenge. Got to respect the grind though. Tom L says, yeah, but the thing is, if you look back, when we've been close to City, we've never had a high goal scoring strikers. Maybe that's why we didn't get past them. The problem now is that the players who used to score for us aren't scoring anymore, like Odegaard. Big up to Nikau with a super chat. Misha, big questions. Why did Edu leave? That is a good question now.
There are questions around that.
JS says Arteta sold Aubameyang and didn't replace him, sack him. Yoki says we didn't have a sporting director, I think is what he's trying to say. It's affected our window. That is true. Again, there's questions to be answered there.
Does the whole script go out the window once Edu leaves or something? Is one man the fucking key holder or what?
He isn't, but who's
it feels weird.
Who's running the...
Arteta, he's the manager.
Yeah, he is. Arteta is
Remember,
who's running... Who's the guy... You can be a manager,
yeah.
But who's the guy out there, the sporting director, the guy spotting the, liaising with the scouts?
For me, the manager, it's the manager's job.
He's on guard.
It's the manager's job. The manager chooses the players he wants to choose, and then he gives it to the next person to potentially get a deal done. Maybe that's where it's been, but there's no evidence to say anything about sporting. All I know is we signed. All I know is we tried to push onto Wenger a sporting director, and he said, "What do they do? Direct traffic, right?" We went from that to letting him go. Emery comes in as head coach, our first head coach, right? Then Arteta comes in after Emery, head coach. 6 months in, that summer, he's made manager.
Yeah.
For me, the key reason, or what people told me the key reasoning behind the difference between a manager and a head coach is a manager has a lot more responsibility.
Correct.
And over the years, you've seen that in Arteta. You've seen that in All or Nothing. In All or Nothing, Edu, Tim Lewis, and whatever other...
Richard Garlick, all them man.
All of them man.
Beckham,
they all sat in a room
Beckham,
saying this guy wants to get rid of Oba, and essentially all of them were against it. But guess what? We got rid of Oba because Arteta wanted it. So Arteta's got power at this club. Ultimately, the owners are the reason for the constant failure, the constant never getting over the line. But Arteta has got some responsibility. He's the second highest paid manager in the world. Like Wenger used to be the highest paid in the world, whilst we paid the highest ticket prices and we finished top 4. No sense. Now Arteta is the second paid highest manager in the world, above Ancelotti, above Simeone, above Slot, who's above him right now. Okay, deliver.
There isn't many good owners right now, though, in Premier League football. What you could say, City might like their owners. I think everyone else has bad, feelings towards their owners. And you're right. Listen, we want ambition.
Are they good owners, City? Could be facing 115
Well, that's
charges.
what I'm saying. So there's no one's happy with their owners right now in the Premier League. I can't name you one.
London Nomad says, we are back to top 4 settings. Robbie's deluded to think that they'll spend big in the summer. We're also bad at selling, so we won't get much for the likes of Kivi or Zinchenko. Get used to the bare minimum. Nino Brown says, well done, Arsenal. It's not just about a loss, it's about putting in the bloody effort. Wilson Clown says, big up to Don Robbie. Are you taking AFTV staff to Dubai after this January transfer window? You guys need it. Blessings from the US. Well, I could do with that. James, did you got him to send that super chat for him? You've been harking on about his Dubai thing. Benedict says, can we play 4-4-2, 3-1-2, 3-1, attacking Skelly, Odegaard, Rice, Havertz in the 10, Nico Williams, Saka, and Sesko up top. You've got to buy them first. VK TV says, last night they played. Last night they played, what was that? Be humble.
Be humble, yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, be humble. After the game, they should have instead played not like us because the owners ain't. We're commodities to them. Jesus says, we're not getting no one. The ownership is embarrassing. Jared, I'm going to do a couple more. We'll cut back to James. Jared says, Arsenal fan from the US, following the club for 24 years. At this point, I feel like I care more about the club than the owners. I listen to AFTV live streams, but I'll not watch games until Arsenal are serious. And Plutonium Fried Rice says, the Lyle brothers need to apologise to Turkish for gaslighting him, for thinking that Sterling would be a good signing, gonna dash an egg at Robbie's head. Listen, listen, as a loan deal, I thought, what we got to lose? Sterling will come in and do a job. He's been very, very poor, and it's not proved to be a good signing at all. Simple as that. So you're right. Nika says PSG spent 180 million on Ramos and Kolo Muani bench. City didn't replace Rodri. Everybody looks for a striker and DM, but it's hard to reinforce a good team. Isn't that City have bought in? They're bringing in a DM, aren't they?
Yeah,
from Porto. Yeah, have they bought him?
Yeah, I think it's a sort of Sky.
50 million release clause, whatever. Just
young, is he not?
London Nomad says, God, I wish that we were owned by the Saudis or big billionaires. I don't care about ethics, Football's gone away from that. We won't survive City and Newcastle. And Rizwan says, this is only justified if we sign Isak, Zubimendi and Nico Williams in the summer. Unlikely, but I expect that level of spending this summer. Let me ask you
That's
guys a
250
question.
million, that.
Let me ask you guys a question. If we signed Isak in the summer, right? And then the summer came and they said, listen, we knew we could get Isak in the summer, definitely. That's why we didn't buy a striker. We only had enough money to do that. Get Isak in the summer, or it would be like we buy an Ollie Watkins, spend the city, we can't get him. Would you accept that?
No,
Why?
because I'm tired of giving them, accepting some bullshit for a potential present in the future. When's the presents come? Like I said, we don't take players from teams. It's only happened when Oba fell out with the board, or Ozil, who was it? Bale came in, so Ozil was no longer. Was it Bale? I think it was. Or it was Neymar came in and Sanchez wasn't needed as much anymore, something like that. We've never, Rice is our biggest signing, but we done that deal nice and early, set us up well. That was a great deal, and that was our best summer.
Type deal like that in the summer.
Yeah, because everyone.
What do you mean?
Isak.
As in, we secure Isak early in the summer.
Supposing
It doesn't excuse them from fucking this one up.
So, what about you? This is a hypothetical, obviously.
No, because it will have been a third season in a row. Like, obviously, I'll be over the moon if we signed Isak in the summer, but it would have been a third season that we challenged for the title. We didn't add the attacking reinforcements to try and get it done. Obviously, I'd be happy.
the
Obviously,
answer.
fast forward, I'd be over the moon if Isak came in. And if they said, well, we didn't go for Watkins for 60 because we knew we were going to get him for 150, I'd say, okay. But it's not just about, it's not adding anyone. It's not doing anything to help the numbers. There is more you can do than just adding the right striker, in my opinion. Missing out on the Tell loan, not recalling Vieira. These are things that should be really easy to do. That would have just given us an extra body or two to help the players that are out there, even if you don't strengthen the actual 11. But you've got a little bit more squad depth. Our bench has been a joke for like 2 months now.
But I'd be frustrated if we did bring bodies in and we don't win anything, and then we don't get the Isak, say, in the summer because we brought bodies in. If it's the context for me, if we won something at the end of the season and we don't sign anyone in this window, if you get Isak in the summer, I'm over the moon. That's brilliant. Gassed. But if you end up with nothing, we drop out of every competition. We go out in the next round of 16 in Champions League. We go out in the League Cup and we drop away from the top spot. And then they say, "Oh, don't worry, you got Isak coming in the summer." I'm just like, that
The here and now,
me.
the here and now is very important in football.
Yeah.
It's always easy to feel like there's more time. There's always next year, there's always another summer. Now we can talk about it from the Saliba and Saka perspectives, but there's just always more. Who thought that Klopp would leave and Liverpool were going to be immediately just running away with the title? So we had that summer or that season now where we thought City would slip up or we'd be ready, but we weren't ready, and another team were. And so our here and now is already being missed when it comes to the Premier League. And there's still other ways to salvage this season. I don't think the club are doing anywhere near enough. Not last summer, not in previous summers and windows, certainly not this January, to give this manager and the players all the help they need. However, this manager, maybe in January I'll excuse Arteta because the way he spoke and he clearly wanted a striker. But in previous windows, he's clearly not made that a priority position himself.
Ben Chilwell's gone to Crystal Palace.
Errol 023 says, what happened to our amazing scouting network? Napsa says, how loud would we be if we still had Bakayo and we was 6 points clear? Is there a preferred new ownership? How about going on Dragons Den? Lester says, anybody mentioned Takehiro Tomiyasu? A miss and out.
Yeah, where is he?
Alexander John says, who cares about our summer signings? Odds are we'll be focused on replacing Saliba when he clears off to Madrid. Jabak says Spurs got someone who told him to piss off.
That's what I was laughing earlier. It's so true.
Yeah. Merwan says, seems like Arteta has already given up on this season and focusing on the next. He knows he cannot go over the line.
That's unacceptable.
End the season now. That would
I don't believe that's true, by the way, but that would be unacceptable.
But he is, if you're not bringing no one in, you ain't giving up, but it's like you're just hoping and praying now. Because you know, all right, let's just say the Champions League, you know if you get, I don't want to even say a Real Madrid or something. You know, if you play against Juventus, they've got a better attack than us. We're in trouble. You're not giving yourself, and we could be playing Juventus or AC Milan in that next round of the Champions League.
AC Milan.
Are we
almost every team
player for player? Are we better than them? We might be,
We're
but
not better than the
much
top.
better.
I don't think we're better
than the top
15,
10,
13
15
teams
clubs in the Premier League. Yeah,
you go and
up
get
front three.
If you win,
Yeah.
got
Three now.
Yeah, we're not in the front three. We're not.
so you're just
Let's play a
hoping,
little game.
you're hoping like, you know.
Bro, it's majority
Dennis
of the
says,
teams.
when is Yardman coming for Turkish's cup of tea? Blue Creek says that Havertz's goal buried our transfer business. Ben A says, no excuse not to get cover if we're a serious club. We all know how this ends. Do you think, here's another conspiracy theory, do you think the fact that we won that game and the manner that we won that game, they might have sat there and thought, do we need anyone?
Nah.
If they did, they're a joke.
That's embarrassing.
They are
There's
a
no
joke, really.
way.
Can I say something?
I'm being serious now.
No,
I've never
there's-
been.
there's no way.
I've never been as
way.
strong about the owners as Turkish. We all know that. I've never been that kind of set on whether I think they're a good or a bad thing for this club. But I think the summer window we just had and this window is a really damning indictment of their true ambitions for this football club. I think that is a really, really bad mark against them, in my opinion. The lack of activity in the summer in key areas, the lack of spending beyond a net spend of what, 5 million, or do we make a profit of 5 million? Something like that. And then to go into this window, see Gabi Jesus, ACL injury. Gabi Jesus, he's not back till January next year. Bukayo Saka already was playing too much, 2-3 months out with a seriously bad torn hamstring. Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz being played through, like, into the ground, and then Raheem Sterling as a loan, who's been a disaster, let's call it as it is. So already we're too light. Let's ask our 17-year-old to stop being the backup to Ødegaard that he's already shouldn't really be, and ask him to be actually the replacement of Bukayo Saka. My understanding of the Kroenke's ambition for this club after these last two windows is in serious doubt, because I thought they did good work. I did, along with everyone else at the club, to get us back to where we needed to be. But maybe what you were theorising was right. Back to square one. Do all this just to get back to where we were. Champions League football, somewhat competitive. We're doing all right.
It's not maybe no more, man. It's a fact. Trust me. I know you said this is a big mark on their name, but bro, you're a smart guy. They invested into a club that just in the Champions League final and a few years off the Invincibles with the best ever Premier League player of all time in Henry, plus multiple legends across the board, right? That's what they invested in, 9%, something like that. Initially, it quickly rose to 30 and 60% over the next 10 years, right? Across those years, we became a top 4 team. The excuse was paying off the stadium, whilst also being told that once it's paid off, we're competing with Bayern Munich and so on. Whilst that was happening, Wenger's contracts kept on increasing in value, but our performances on the pitch kept on declining. Make that make sense? Shield. That's the only way that makes sense, right? Because how can a manager be going backwards, but you're giving him more money? Yeah, he was the perfect shield for all of the nonsense. Yeah, then just recently the Usmanov stuff. It happens and they get 100% of it. But Stan, by this point, Stan's come out with, I didn't buy this club to win trophies, right? So you have to put a new face to it. Who better than my son? There you go, Josh, be the new face. He comes out and says, be excited. We signed Pepe a few weeks later. 7 years on, nothing. So at the end of the day, it's not just one mark against these owners. These owners are the mark, the stain, the rot, the poison at this club. That's what they are. That's why it makes me sick that someone's painted them. Like, it really makes me sick. I can't believe I just can't believe it. It's sickening. Like, these men are, they're 100% owners, and there's not much we can do about it. I know, and we've done it before in terms of buying less merch and not going to games as much. And that's happened under Wenger.
It did feel like it was changing.
Yeah, that's because they're businessmen, bro. They're billionaires because they know how to manipulate the market, bro. They know how to manipulate you or the people or the customers.
All of us, we were wearing merch. You were wearing merch.
That's because I love the club, and we were coming back to a place where we should always have been.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is, look at this month, for example. Two drops. Two new merch drops in a month where we need to sign someone, and our manager's actively saying we need to sign someone. They come here for image.
Crazy.
They came here for image.
drops.
I thought he flew over after Man United, Josh. That's 2 weeks ago. And they was here yesterday
They're
again.
here yesterday and again.
What are they here for?
Stands out of this. Josh, yeah, he would have been here. But I hear what you're saying. But there was moments that 2018, the full takeover, 100% cool. That Josh being the face. But what he was saying, okay, it could be appeasing fans. But it felt like there was a change. That the summer signing of Declan Rice, a record UK signing for our record signing, a UK record signing at the time, and now been taken over by Chelsea. But it felt like you can buy into what they were doing. Everyone felt that. But you're right. Right now, this season or this moment, I still don't listen. The owners have to have some sort of blame towards it. But I still think that Arteta not pushing for a striker is a big problem, because it doesn't seem like he has been for a long time. But that's right.
Nicholas Blackmore says Arsenal should at least sign a ref on loan. AMT says Arsenal the ultimate nearly club. Thoughts? Manuel Dominguez says maybe Chloe Kelly can help the boys. Maybe that's about the only signing we've seen come through the door, and that's for the women's team. Yeah. Cullum Kid says at least we can actually write the season off now. Be ready to watch Saliba, Gabriel and Saka walk out of the door in a couple of years. Look how negative it is after we've just had such a big win. You can't blame people. I get it. I really do understand it. But look how negative it is.
Just one sign. Lift me.
I'm taking Apu says thank you Don Robbie for the updates every day. I love watching religiously every transfer window. Really helps me get through the day. Thank you. Mr. P says I'll take Olivier Giroud back at this point. Mika says we went from horrible to challenging 3 years with Kroenkes. Chill and support. Stop asking for panic buys that will cost us in the future.
Shut the fuck up, man.
You can't say that. It's the guy's opinion.
Yeah, and that's my opinion.
You can't say that. Listen.
Just shut up. That's my opinion. What, can't I have that opinion? Must I like what he said?
No.
I'm tired of him.
Hold on, though. But
20 years deep I've been watching this shit. At some point, Robbie, you look back at history and you evaluate the present and the future, right? I've got 20 years of it to fall back on, not to be hearing some bullshit from, what's his name? Just move. What's the next super chat, man?
Let me get that back up.
Nico.
Just shut up, man.
Hey, Nico, he's angry at the moment, right?
What a sickening comment, man. It's frequent amongst the fans, that excuses.
Would you rather a panic buy?
Why? Why are we panicking, Rob? 5 years in, 7 years, be excited. The question, if you're saying it'd be a panic buy, my question is why? What happened to the planning? You telling me Arteta's coming out every fucking day saying, I trust every single person working behind the scenes. And he also stated that they're working behind the scenes regardless of transfer window being open. But it leads to a panic buy. So what the fuck are they doing?
No, but
what are they working behind the scenes on, Rob? Every day. What are they working behind the scenes on every day for it to lead to 30th of January or 31st of August and it's panic buys? They're not doing their job. Sack them.
I'll take them.
All right.
Sack them.
We just.
Lionel says should have signed Santiago Jimenez. Zlatan rates him. Paul S says top 15 PM top scorers and none are at the Arsenal. That's true.
We have such a history of strikers as well. It's such a shame. Like that
Paulie
we moved
says
so far
if we
from
don't
that.
buy tonight, there's nowhere to hide and no excuses for Arteta if we don't go big in the summer. Big up to Loan, sorry. Super chat, but no comment. Red Dust says, this is the same manager who chose to waste 35 million on Fabio Vieira, a player that could never score the goal. MLS scored against City and who lost his place to a more physically developed Ranieri at 17 years old. We'll need to sell Deadwood this summer. Yanni says Arteta is the reason why we are competing. People who say that Arteta out don't know the pain that we had from 2006 to 2019. Stop blaming Arteta. He isn't the problem. Anthony Taylor says, now I know Arsenal is a Netflix club next season. 40 Side says, yesterday none of our summer signings started. Havertz was bought as a midfield, but by chance ended up as a centre forward. Are there perhaps concerns on Arteta and his talent ID?
No one's saying Arteta out here though on panel today, are they? No one's saying that. I also made that clear from that past super chat. Are you saying Arteta? You're not saying Arteta out now, are you?
What? No.
Ash says KSC is worth 12 billion and we're asking them for 80 million pound striker. That's like having £12,000 and someone is asking you for £80 and you not doing it. London Nomad says just accept that we're just a top 4 club. They spent the money to get us out of the rot. Either accept it or protest to get them out. Atch says clubs do not want to sell to Arsenal. Are you blind? Maybe you will be happier when we're back in 5th out of the Champions League and not challenging. Cry. SA says only thing we are getting this season is red cards. Merwan49 says finishing 3rd, trophyless. Remember this, Netflix. James Parker, what time is the open top boss parade for beating City? A City side in transition. Who has won transition? Who has won the lot? Those boys down the road got our target. Tell one to watch.
City in transition. Wow.
Sancho off again. Playush says if we lost the title by 2 points because Havertz it just disappeared on me.
Mr. Sitter in the final game and we get a draw, why would we be happy with Isak signing? The summer ambition is not to get a player in, it's to win titles.
You want to continue on? Do a few?
I can if you want. Yanni says, I'd rather have no one than another Fabio, Vieira or Trashford. Hopefully in the summer we get a proper striker like Gyökeres. Sesko isn't good enough.
I'd rather have no one, did he say?
Then Fabio Vieira. Rashford. Junior says, Turkish agree with you. But this Arteta on £15 million is fake news. At least be accurate. He's on 9.5 million. Ancelotti on 9.6.
You be accurate.
Gerrard
He was on 9 million
15.2.
before that contract. Don't test me on these things.
London says, Robbie, don't delude fans with calling them negative. We celebrated the win yesterday. Now we need to focus on lack of support, each to their own.
No. Listen, what I'm saying negative, I'm not criticising the fans. I feel negative as well, and I was there and I was jumping up and down like, limbs. But because we haven't done any business today, all the talk has gone from so positive yesterday to negative. That's the facts. Tell me someone who's really positive about the transfer window.
Yeah.
What can you be positive?
Show me one person who's positive and happy that we didn't bring in a striker, that we didn't bring in reinforcements. Forget who, that you're just happy that we did nothing. Show me one fan.
I think what he's actually saying is, I think what he's saying, we shouldn't be calling fans negative, but no one here is calling them negative. I think we all agree with fans.
We feel negative.
Yeah.
I'm not calling fans negative. Yeah. We feel negative at the moment in our talk because we've made no signings.
No, I agree. Veke says, does Arteta still think he has the best owners? That would be a good question to ask him.
You only said it 6 months ago.
We'll get yourself in the press conference and
I think
I think a journalist should ask him that question.
Pre-season.
Arteta, you made it really clear that you wanted a striker and that you believed in your team. They didn't give you one. Do you still think you got the best support? Luke says, owners love deluded fans like Julian. Pick up Julian. He-Man says, in 2 hours I'll go from a big Havertz critic to give him all the credit and grace in the world. Arteta has let him down and thrown him into the wolves. Cal's Corner says, we got conned. They manipulated our loyalty and love for our football club. All I hear is PR saying Zubimendi signed a deal when he didn't. These owners are disgusting and must leave. They are liars. It just got away from me 1 second. I've got it here. Brack says, when is the Kroenke out protest? That's a good question. Well, not one that I know of soon. Marcus says, I would rather wait for the correct striker than pay a premium for the wrong one. Watkins felt impulsive. I disagree. Watkins might not have been the answer to get us the striker. To get us over the line. He's a very good striker. I have
to say, a lot of people didn't want Watkins.
I can believe it.
A lot. I'd say if you did a poll, it would be almost 50-50. A lot of people are like,
They had that stat going around that he misses big chance, same like compared to
he's missed more this season. He's missed more big chances than Havertz.
Yeah, I saw that stat. But hey.
OG says serious clubs don't panic buy. No, but they do better in the market than we've done. Moose says
I think you know what, we're on that, right? And that point that Turkish makes.
Yeah, opportunities.
If you plan well, you don't have to panic.
That's it.
You may have to buy
to
cover
your jobs.
Injuries and stuff like that. But that's why I said the January transfer window. If you've done your business well, the only time you should be delving in that is if you had an injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's emergency.
The teams that have done good business don't even January don't mean nothing to them.
Yeah. You know what, never mind. Moose says, I really thought full ownership was what they were waiting for, but I only have one transfer window left in me before the apathy kicks back in. Why are we not panicking? World-class ballers who exist. The window is opening. Kian, thank you for your super chat, though no text there. Get me a job. Blicky94 says, get me a job at the recruitment department, getting paid just to try, with no consequences of doing nothing. I need that. That is a great point. Sorry, Roy, you like that comment, and I disliked it. There we go. Big Ticket AFC says, oh no, bin the dog as well. Absolute cringe. It's outrageous. Nika says, Kroenke invested in the last year. Stop crying about them or buy the club. Turkish just buy the club, mate.
Buy the club, Turkish.
Recruitment is not as easy as monopoly on your
What is
sofas.
that, 7 billion? It's that 4 billion.
100 quid I'll give you.
Okay. Okay, what to add to the 4 billion you need to get? Yeah.
Leaf says to buy big we have to sell big, like Liverpool and Suarez. No, you don't necessarily have to. Kusta says, kind of wish we got Ivan Toney before he took off for Saudi Arabia in the summer. We just want our 3 points, says Jay. Jashar says, big up my guy Turkish. We've seen this film before. We already know what it is. There we go. Sorry, I had it in front of me. Michael says, we trusted the process. How many years now? This can't be part of our epoxy process. Now, surely, Board did this to the end of Arsenal's reign. Joba says, big up everyone. A regular on Curtis Shaw's channel, currently planning to fly a banner over the Emirates with Curtis and his community backing us. Send emails to KSE. Make a GoFundMe for it. Josephine says, AFTV is the face of our fan base. I'm sorry, other than Turkish and James. Oh, thank you for including me. Some of the PR results in owners thinking we are content. I don't think there's any PR from this channel, but we're just giving our opinions. Lee says, call me wrong, but if we hadn't beaten City 5-1 yesterday and scraped a draw or win with Havertz missing that chance, would we have signed someone today? I think if we didn't win yesterday, we actually would have panicked. I think we would have. I think it is all about energy and feel good. Connor says, maybe wishful thinking, but the 9 p.m. tweet from Arsenal needlessly starting with 0 makes me think it may be a Watkins tease. That is very wishful thinking, but if you're right, I will remember that, Connor.
What was that?
So you know when they like, you know when they do tweets that kind of hint like the first letter of each of the next tweets like spells a name or something.
When did they do that?
He's just saying that they started one with an O. So
Wait, Arsenal.
Listen.
Have they done LLI?
It'll be something like on this day. On this day, we also signed fucking no one. That's also what they've. 2 years ago we let Aubameyang go and did nothing. James, Turkish football isn't life. Go buy tissues. Listen, I've got terrible back pain, or neck pain. I'm just feeling shattered. Do I have to be smiling right now? We've done nothing on deadline day. Sorry that I'm not over the moon. If you want happiness, go watch my match report on the Gooniverse. I'm the happiest man on the planet in that one. I'm beaming. So go watch. That's what football does.
Good cheeky plug. I like that. That was good.
Anthony, there you go. You want to see happy James? There we go. Go subscribe. Anthony says, Kroenke is back to Arteta. I don't know why Turkish is still complaining. Clubs have to be sensible with spending. Aston Villa able to spend because they sold Diaby and Louise. Diego, thank you for your super chat as well. Keane says, Arsenal need to buy. City have conceded more goals than United. Sporting final. Spurs, Juve, PSG. So Arsenal should not get over the moon. Need a number 9 and a winger.
Sold a lot of players, quite a few players this window, isn't it? Villa.
Yeah.
They sold Diego Carlos as well. They sold.
Robbie, you said several times you think Arsenal will sign a player. Would you admit you were wrong on that prediction? Big love. Thanks for Transfer Daily. He said that you said that we.
Yeah, listen, I was told that we're definitely signing a player.
That happens.
Wrong.
Yeah. Happens.
Wrong.
Mr. Good says, Robbie, I guess you owe that guy $50 for Arsenal not bringing anyone in. I still owe you 100 for Zinchenko, so just take it out of that. Jordan says, if we don't sign anyone, Arteta must have known 65 million Havertz means no signing in January. Owners discuss these things at the start with managers. Gunnar Gareth says, this Turkish loves Arsenal, but he needs to love... What? He needs to love fitness, skills, goals just as much. Show that hunger and sign for the Arsenal. Oh, so he needs you to become the striker we want, is what he's saying.
You did score. You scored a pretty good goal in America.
So you've got to buy the club.
You see the plonkers that do this.
You've got to buy the club and you've got to play as well.
When I turned to Julian and I said, why are you the way you are?
Yeah.
I mean, I could turn to these same two people and be confused.
Buy the club, man.
Leandro says, thanks for the show. Lewis says, go home, that's pointless waiting. We are going to wrap up soon, just getting through your final super chats. London says, Turkish, how much do you want to bet we'll be out of the top for about 7 years' time, like what happened at the end of Wenger's time? Prithviraj says, if Mikel knew he's not getting anyone in January from the Cronkies, he should have at least convinced us to stop selling Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe and Vieira would have played minutes. They would have. Sir Michael Oliver says, doesn't this transfer window... It says, Don this transfer window blessing in disguise. No. Richard says, quiet tonight. Goldbridge is also pissed.
Yeah, I know.
United fans aren't happy.
United fans are like, they're losing it as well.
Jesus,
and they actually signed someone. Hey, we ain't signed no one.
Patrick Dorgu there. At least they got on a wing back. Jesus says, big up Turkish. Arsenal bid 60 million and then they'll get turned down just to shut our supporters up. The Cronkies were not winning. If the Cronkies were not winning with this crap. The mighty Sosage with the super chat, thank you very much. Diego says, my deep... Yeah. I think that's how it's pronounced.
You got
No, his name's the mighty Sosage.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's his name. Diego, my deep sympathy to Robbie. Imagine the daily transfer. And it's all for nothing. Shameless love for the Love Turkish. Next season, FC.
Turkish said to me. That's William in the crown.
We're going back to Fulham about it.
Right. Turkish did say to me this morning that he's taken over Transfer Daily in the summer.
Oh, that would be a blast. I'll tell you that would be a blast.
We're not fucking signing no one.
That would be Kroenke out daily. That's what that would be. Real quick.
Tick tock.
Tick tock. Turkish in the go. How's it go, people? Welcome back to Bullshit Daily. We're doing fucking nothing.
It's shocking, man. It's shocking.
Rose says Cronkies have relaxed, need to restart protest. Leston says need to talk about ticket pricing too after joke. MG says Aston Villa fighting for nothing, getting Rashford, Dizazi, Marlon, Asensio while we do absolutely nothing is embarrassing. Leandro says, what are your thoughts on our income despite Champions League increases? It's barely ahead of Spurs. Surely that's hampering moves. I don't really want to go into the finances, but yeah, I mean, these are all areas that
we've got enough money. We've sold players, like I said, a lot of players for pure profit. They've got enough money to do signings. Nobody was. Come on.
Yeah, we're not United.
We need a striker. I know there's PSR restraints on a lot of teams. I know Villa, as I said, they have made a few sales. John Duran, Diego Carlos. I think Buendia went out on loan. They have shifted a lot of players out, but it's just not. I'm sorry, to me,
The TV went off as Pedro Neto was about to batter it.
He scored as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's having a pop at people. People been talking too much.
Pedro Neto scores, mate, to 1-1.
That's not very nice, isn't it? You do that to your own fans.
That's quite, we haven't signed anyone. United said they're frustrated, but they've made a signing.
I think in the case of United though as well, right, is that they've let players go, innit? They've let Rashford go and stuff like that.
That's a lot.
But they haven't brought an attacker in. That's a bit weird that they've let. I mean, they're already hardly scored goals.
Who they sold to make money? Because it's a loan for.
Well, they haven't. They've Rashford's gone.
Because they were making cuts, Manchester United. So I'm shocked they've even signed one player.
It is surprising with them.
Yeah.
That Rashford's gone. Who else?
Anyone? Was it
Anthony
went on loan. So that's two. I mean, I know that neither of them are any good, but
they signed Aiden Heaven.
Two attackers have gone out on loan and they haven't replaced them.
It's quite surprising because they're making so many cuts to then make one signing. We haven't done nothing and we got money.
Junior says, simple maths Turkish, how much is 30 million over 3 year contract? Your point is generally right, but you're wrong regarding the contract amount. You don't know what you're talking
offside
about.
In that goal?
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you know about the bonuses that come with making Champions League football as well, right? Okay. This is there. Like, just do your own research. It's not like this is. You can find all these numbers out there. Just don't go to the first click or the second click and think that's the one. I care about this because it's 20 years deep, so I do enough research to know what I'm talking about when it comes to these owners and the bullshit they feed us. Transfer window in, transfer window out.
Yanni says, let's be honest, any player we could bring in January would be a terrible player or panic buy. Tell me who you would have liked and be realistic. Lawrence says, remember when the Cronkies... So I'm not answering that, Yanni, just because we have scouts, we have people. Like there have been players over the last 6 windows that we could have signed. Come on, I wanted Kudus. So yeah. Lawrence says, remember when Kroenke got abused at the Bayern friendly out in LA? I do. Seek says, watch back Edu's interview on deadline day outside the training ground. That was a face of a man who failed to do what Arteta wanted. He even said Sterling what was his idea and asked Arteta. That's why he left. I think he was saying they never planned.
Yeah, they never planned for me. There's an opportunity that arose. But that interview, he's right, was quite interesting outside the training ground. Like he just said, look, there's an opportunity that arose. We've seen him before, we've seen him play, and it wasn't like they definitely didn't plan for Sterling.
All right, look, thank you for all your comments and super chats. Final super chat, so we're wrapping this up. Henry says, youth talent for Arsenal is amazing. Do you think they will solve our problem until the summer? I think we are building for long-term success. Sean says, OG is in the money, Rob. We all knew Watkins' thing was a PR stunt, league done, accept second and go big in the summer. TJ, Liverpool fans says Liverpool have no signing for 3 windows now. Yeah, and if they don't get over the line, Liverpool fans will rightly look at these missed opportunities to have improved more. Every window, whether you're top or 18th, there's a chance to improve. Moose says, as an American fan, I don't understand why there's not consistent pressure on the owners. Is there just too many tourist dollars coming in? If Arsenal didn't make money, KFG would leave and sell to someone like Daniel Ek. Look, I don't think it's got anything to do with. I don't know. Lee says, I wonder how many players like Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, Odegaard feel when they get so close to the title, don't get the signs. We need to get over the line. I agree. Team Us says, big ups Turkish, I'm your younger cousin. Do you think Arsenal should focus on the league or Champions League?
Focused on top 4.
Yeah. Plutonian Fried Rice says, Blood Brothers Season 2, please. James and Abby are as managers. Okay, yeah, why not? OG says, Robbie, I was 100% sure we weren't signing someone. Nathan with a salty emoji. Yeah, we are feeling salty. Anthony says, you don't need to spend a lot to compete. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. Lawrence says, Arteta chose to pay £35 million for Vieira when Tielemans was available for nothing and wanted to come. Yeah, very true. Chai says, Turkish is the GOAT, speaks the truth, love for the love. Ibol says, KSC don't love and care about the club. It's a shame. Josephine says, if all of the fans are like Turkish, we'd be champions. Real Madrid. Arsenal says, it's Arteta's fault if Arsenal don't buy a striker. He's telling the Kroenkes that we have Havertz. It's a shame. No ambition. Safe says, we do have a buyback clause for Eddie. Jokes Turkish. AM90 says, these owners treat Arsenal like a side piece, always lying to give fans hope. They care more about their American teams, no ambition to win anything. Red Dust says, Turkish, don't let the club's shortcomings affect the investment in the hairline. Love for the love.
I've contacted them already.
And final super chat of the day, Historical Being says, Robbie, you witnessed us win multiple things, including a double. Why have your standards dropped? And
my standards have not dropped. Listen, my standards have not dropped at all. Right? Why does he think my standards are dropped? Yeah, what the hell is he talking about? Like we want to win things.
We want to sign him.
I'm sitting here all day. I've just been shocked that after all how have we not gone in to try and buy a striker? I'm still in shock. Maybe I shouldn't be because I've seen this before. You know what, right? If we hadn't have won yesterday, this would have reminded me of the time when we. Oh my God! How did you miss that? My God, that's Kudus, who we all want.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
If we hadn't won yesterday, I mean, and then it puts pressure on Wednesday as well. Right. Puts pressure on Wednesday. If on Wednesday now we go out, right, we're all going to be like, well, that's going to be the first thing on everyone's mind.
Yeah,
that we signed no and blah blah blah. Yeah,
from the preview we had now it's just
yeah. You know what I mean? They've just spoilt the vibes, man. Yeah. Like just get somebody. You know what I mean? So it's really really disappointing. I want to know what they're going to have to say about this. You know, but then we know what they're going to put spin on it. Oh, there was nobody out there. We tried. Didn't try hard enough, man. This one, I'm with Turkish on this one. This is not good enough for Arsenal Football Club to know that you are short and do nothing. That means to me, I can't see us now. Only through sheer luck can we win the league or Champions League now, because that team needed something else, and it's not been given it. It's
relying on some young.
Totally agree. All right. Well, if there is any more news, there's an hour and a half left of the transfer window. If there's any more news, of course, we will be live and cover it here on AFTV. They're live on DR Sports as well. Are you going to be on DR, Robbie?
No, I've had enough, man.
Yeah, don't blame me. But they are live on DR talking transfers. Turkish will be on the Big Six. And yeah, look, of course, if anything happens, we'll let you know. But it's extremely unlikely with an hour and a half to go. Rohit, thank you for your super chat. Saying that it's clear that we need to improve the squad. Wonder why the Cronkies can't see this. It can AFTV loan Cecil to Arsenal, and I agree with you, Wilson. No one will talk about Sesko and Nico. I'm bored of it too, and I'll try and muster the energy again come the summer. Thank you, Turkish. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Cecil. A good 2 hours, 20 minutes of venting. We all needed it. Listen, it's not a reflection on the players who gave a really, really good account of themselves yesterday. One of my favourite wins in a long time in an Arsenal, as an Arsenal fan. And they can still do something this season, but they needed help. And I think the ownership and everyone involved in transfers has let Mikel Arteta and the players down. And Arteta's to blame when you look at the wider picture over many years as well. He gets his fair share. But it's been a disappointing deadline day. Let's hope that Wednesday could be a better evening in which we can try to book a place in the final of the Carabao Cup. They'll be there. Fan cams outside the ground and previews coming tomorrow. Thank you, Turkish. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Cecil. Subscribe to AFTV. And we'll see you all very, very soon.